Welcome back to Serie A Spotlight. We're your hosts Jake
and Matt.
You know what time it is!
Jake and I will have a very special soft spot for Salernitana.
We love now.
This might be bad.
But your group has really some characters in it, no?
Ora naħseb.
Hello and welcome back to yet another episode of Serie A Spotlight. This is episode 218 and we're your hosts Jake
And Matt.
here to run you through all the action of Matchday 34 in Serie A.
Yes, and we are so back. This match day consisted of comebacks, Monday Night Madness, a vintage snooze fest between Milan and Juve, Coppa Italia cinema, refereeing scandals, and even prostitutes.
You heard that right, prostitutes. You're probably wondering what the hell is going on, but don't worry, we're here to give you updates without blowing things out of proportion, of course, and remaining level-headed throughout the whole thing.
Exactly. If you guys are new here, as always, make sure to follow us on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, and YouTube, and rate us 5 stars on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts. It helps us to grow and continue to bring you quality content. If you really love us and want early access, live episodes, and much, much more, become a patron. It's $3.99 a month, and you'll also be added to a group chat with 50 plus like-minded legends, join our fantasy league, and even win a free kit of your choice for winning the league. Unless one of us wins it. You also
Which might happen this year, by the way.
I'm only 6 points behind Alan with 4 matches to go, so stay tuned over there. Quick shout out to our media partners, Benevobid. If you support us, then you support Benevobid. Check out the link in our bio to bid on autographed items from top players, including match-issued kits. If you check out their socials, you can also find real footage of the players signing off the merch. Most of the proceeds go to charity, so click the link in our bio, upgrade your collection, and give back to charity.
It's a win-win situation. You get a kit, and charity gets money. Win-win. We are also proud to announce the creation of our own website. Matt and I took last Friday off from work, from our day jobs, and we went down to the square to get some food, and we ended up having a few pints. Few too many pints, and then we got home and we decided to sit down and lock in and work, and we actually managed, despite our chimpanzee technological brains, we are not very good with tech and all this stuff, but we managed to put together a decent looking website. And Nate, if you can open it up right now, we'd like to show you what it looks like and why it's worth visiting. Of course, you can consume our content over there. You can check out the league table and the latest scores. We also have some articles and a daily game, and the daily game is super fun. It gives you a few questions, basically a few hints to guess a player. You have 5 hints. The more hints you use, the fewer points you get. There's a daily leaderboard as well.
And you want to keep your streak, huh?
Yeah. So far, we had Strefezza, which threw everyone off because it said Brazilian.
Yeah.
And honestly, I couldn't get it, man. I was like, Brazilian has played for Lecce. Winger, I'm thinking, who the hell? And then, of course, it's Strefezza. Saponara was another tricky one that came up yesterday. And today's, I shan't be telling you. You'll have to go and check it out. It's a good one, though. Can you hit the guess part? Guess, or the daily challenge? Daily challenge, actually, it's called. Yes. Hit start. So you can see that this is, for example, a Nigerian who played from 2015 to 2022. We won't do any more. There's a timer, of course. The more time passes, the fewer points you get. But you can leave the screen, Nate, so it doesn't expose or reveal any more hints.
Yeah.
But that's it. Check it out.
The
you
temptation
can also
to play it live on air right now is real. That is serieaspotlight.org, guys.
Yes.
We'll probably include it in the link in our bio.
Yes, it's on all our socials as well, and you can also leave us a review at the bottom, which is a nice thing to do. It would be very nice.
Yep, totally. So check that out. Without further ado, let's jump to our goal of the week. Once again, we'll have 2 different ones, which is becoming a bit standard at this point. My choice for goal of the week was Ezebou's half volley against Lazio. I thought there were plenty bangers from this week. I'm just going to name a few of them, particularly from this Monday night game between Lazio and Udinese. There was Pedro's goal, was mental, a curling effort into the bottom corner. Pellegrini's volley into the top corner, amazing. Ezebou's, of course. There was Scamacca's against Cagliari. Elainawi is against Bologna, Santos against Cremonese, McTominay against Cremonese. I've left yours out purposefully, Jake.
Yeah.
But I decided to go for the hardest shot, the strongest shot, and that was an absolute fucking bullet by
was a cracker, huh?
Azib, where the second he touched the ball, it was in the top corner.
With the outstep as well,
with the
lovely.
outstep, so I had to choose that.
Yeah. The goal I went for was actually Simeone's goal against Inter, because I really enjoyed the link-up play as well. Ilkan's involvement was really nice. And it was a really smooth transition counter that kind of looked like the type of goal Inter usually score. And then at the end, Simeone scored with a cheeky little dink over the keeper. Really enjoyed that one.
This is what D'Aversa has Torino looking like nowadays. These little intricate passages of play from counter-attacking positions has become somewhat of their signature.
Yeah, I'm enjoying them lately, to be honest with you. We are approaching our tops, flops, and unsung heroes, or like the 5 minutes on each team episodes. Those are all fun. And I was actually going to say that Torino, I found Torino to be one of the most boring teams to watch in the season, but thankfully D'Aversa's kind of saving them from that reputation.
Totally, man. So don't forget to stay till the end for our patron segments. Of course, we have our Fantasy League update. And we'll also continue our prediction series. I won this weekend's prediction series. I got 7 correct outcomes to Jake's 6 or 5. Let's say 6. Yeah, 6. So again, we're getting a lot better at this, and we're starting to catch on to whatever fucking weird trends there are towards the end of the season. But yeah, it's 8-7 now, so stay tuned till the end to see what our predictions are going to be. And yeah, I think we can jump into this week's episode. Before we get into the match, there are just a few things I'd like to mention. But let's start off on a footballing note, because
the Coppa Italia,
Coppa Italia semi-finals throughout the week. If you missed a single game, then I genuinely feel bad for you. Of course, we only caught the second half of Como Inter, but that was perhaps the most pivotal. Just another comeback from 2-0 down by Inter, and so many goals in the last minutes of the game.
You got the second half. I'm remembering now, because obviously this is in my house, so we stopped recording and I sat down perfectly in time for the game to start. You had to drive home, so you missed the first half.
Yeah. What can I do? But Inter make the final after turning around a 2-0 deficit, which is exactly what they did a couple of weeks ago, where they played Como in the league. So this is becoming a bit of a trend between Inter and Como.
But what a match, man. When Como came out, I actually thought that they had way too much firepower for Inter to handle. It was Baturino and Acuna who opened the scoring. And it wasn't until quite late in the second half that Inter actually started their comeback. But once they get firing, they just can't be stopped, man. And this time it was Çalhanoğlu who really spearheaded and led the comeback. He played like a true leader, man. He even scored a header, totally goes against every Çalhanoğlu goal we've ever seen. And a trademark strike, of course. And it was Sucic who got the winner after having a strange moment where he held the ball for too long and the fans were groaning, but he managed to maintain his composure and score an impressive winner. Fabregas tends to get it wrong in the second half against Inter. He starts well and then doesn't know how to manage it. It's like when his team tires out from the press, or when he decides to drop back, he just invites Inter back into the game. It's happened so many times.
I think it's literally a copy-paste of the league game a couple of weeks ago, where literally you could tell that Como are probably more skilled going forward in many ways with their energy and what they bring, particularly early on in the game. But Inter are seasoned vets, I mean, they weather the storm. They go 2 goals down, but then they know Como are going to sit back after that. Well, not exactly sit back, but once Inter get hold of the ball and they start looking to get those goals, and they pin Como back themselves, because Como will never choose to low block it. Inter pinned them back and they work the ball into the box. That's exactly what happened in the first game, and it's what happened in the second game as well. And Como can't defend that. It's not where they're skilled. And that's where Inter got the win. I wanted to say Çalhanoğlu in this game looked like he was playing for Turkey. He had that same energy about him, that same
the patriotism.
Exactly. That leader.
I did notice that when the first goal was scored by Çalhanoğlu, the Como players already looked traumatized. Diego Carlos especially, man. And you could see like they put their hands on their heads. They look demoralized. They're traumatized, man, from throwing leads against this team. And it happened again. And you could see they're all looking at each other, nervous that it's going to happen again. And it literally did, man. And what I noticed was the lack of leadership. I saw at one point Perrone was clapping, trying to rile everyone up, but he was mostly ignored by the players around him. And also, I cannot stand this Nico Paz unnecessary dribbling when they have a slight lead. Like when you're 1 goal up, you shouldn't be trying a Cruyff turn right outside your box. Nico Paz. But whatever. I guess that's what makes him fun to watch. Right?
But right now, when he does that, when he was literally at fault for a goal in the league for doing that.
Yeah, literally. And I thought to myself, I can't believe he's doing it again.
Which encouraged Inter's comeback. So I'm really starting to think, with the heavy links of him going back to Madrid in summer, that he's really kind of viewing this just as a stage where he could showcase his skills and not really care too much about the team, even though probably getting them top 4 or getting them to a Coppa Italia final is literally the biggest merit he could have as a footballer.
He could make history with them.
Exactly. Rather than beating someone with a step over, maybe look at the bigger picture a bit more. But I think at this stage of the season, you get to see that experience is super important, which is why Como aren't quite yet in the top 4, and which is why they haven't made the Coppa Italia final. And Kivu remains in the chance to become one of the first ever foreign managers, to win the local doppietta of Italy, which is the Serie A and the Coppa Italia. Shall we jump to Atalanta against Lazio?
Yeah, so the first leg ended 2-2 over there, and this one ended in a 1-1 draw. It was a goal from Romagnoli in the 84th minute that looked like it got the deal sealed for Lazio against all odds, because Atalanta were actually playing better than they were, and they were pressing them and really pushing. But then just 2 minutes later, Pasalic scored to equalize and make it 1-1, and they eventually went to penalties.
There were a few disallowed goals here. I know there was a very tight one of Raspadori.
It was controversial, that one.
And I believe there was another one as well.
I think two disallowed goals for Atalanta, if I'm not mistaken, yes. But the main talking point over here is the penalty shootout. The penalty shootout was absolutely remarkable. You have to go and watch it if you haven't watched it yet. There's the full clip of the shootout with no commentary. It's just the fans. It's 15 minutes long. The Serie A
Take it in.
Website, YouTube channel posted it. It's amazing, and you get to see the pressure, man, and you get to see the wall of Atalanta fans behind the goalpost, and the dreaded walk that the Lazio players had to do with that wall right behind them. And the first one to step up was Dele Bashiru, and he actually looked the most confident of the lot from the Lazio players, I thought. And his penalty was saved by Carnesecchi. You have Carnesecchi in goal, one of the top 3 keepers in Italy, against Motta, the 3rd choice keeper for Lazio, 21 years old, having to fill in an injury crisis, and he went on to make history by saving 4 penalties in a row.
It's like nothing I've ever seen before, man. I've been watching football since I was like 3 years old with my dad. I have never seen a goalkeeper in a penalty shootout, except for that one funny video on YouTube where the ball keeps hitting the keeper's face.
And he keeps getting injured and trying to get away. At one point he's crawling away and it just hits off the post and hits him in the face.
But that was Motta in this penalty shootout, man. 4 penalties in a row, and my favorite thing was how stoic he was throughout it. Not a single fist pump after saving a penalty, not a single smile or anything, just locked in, just one hand in the air before the penalty is taken.
Like a rock star.
Like a fucking rock star, and he saves 4 in a row in that way. It was just... I showed it to everyone at work, and I was building the storyline for them. I'm like, okay, this is Lazio. They have no supporters in the stadium. Maybe those 12 over there. They had a transfer ban. They couldn't bring in players. And then this is Carnesecchi. Carnesecchi saved 4 out of his last 5 penalties. He's experienced. And then that is a child. That is the 3rd choice goalkeeper just coming up through the ranks at Lazio. He was shaky all game, Motta.
He was
really shaky all game, as he was this week. But from the spot, he was. That is just one of the coolest moments I've seen in football, honestly.
And it's not like the penalties were poor or the penalty takers weren't specialists.
I think maybe Zappacosta's was a bit
it
poor.
Was the worst one, but
otherwise,
Scamacca, Zappacosta, Pasalic, and CDK. He saved all their pens. That's mental.
As a 21-year-old.
Yeah. What
massive shout out to Lazio who make the final. And this actually causes quite an interesting thing, because Roma are 5th and Lazio are in the final, which means that if Lazio win the Coppa Italia and Roma finish 6th, Lazio knock Roma down to a Conference League spot and they take their Europa League spot.
No,
So Roma need to make sure they finish 5th or greater, or Lazio might do this devastating rival curse
absolute
onto
cinema
them.
if they do
That would be class, especially considering the season Lazio have had.
Mental.
Shall we jump to some of the off-field issues? So I think this is just to kind of clarify, these are ongoing investigations. There are multiple conflicting reports. Jake and I are the furthest thing from journalists you'll ever see. So all we want to tell you is that there are ongoing investigations regarding this Rocchi scandal, which we will get into very briefly. And then watch this space for news updates when the facts are actually provided. Because I don't feel like we can, from a neutral point of view, give you updates when there aren't any facts presented yet, because there are multiple allegations from Inter fans and Juve fans and Milan fans, etc. alike. Everyone seems to have their allegiances when they come up with these updates. We want to maintain neutrality and just bring you the facts, right?
Without obviously blowing it up or doing 1 + 1 = Inter are corrupt.
Exactly. So I mean, in a nutshell, what we can say is that Rocchi is under investigation by the Milan prosecutor's office for alleged sporting fraud. He's voluntarily stepped away from his role, and Dino Tomassi has replaced him for the rest of the season. The people who are under investigation right now are Rocchi himself, VAR supervisor Andrea Gervasoni, and 3 additional referees, Luigi Nasca, Rodolfo Di Vuolo and Daniele Paterna. All 3 are reportedly suspected of providing false information during the probe. So there are some specific incidents that reveal that Rocchi has interfered with VAR interventions on the field, and I will get into those specific incidents just by reading what I have in front of me. But then, however, there is also a separate allegation regarding Rocchi, where he was helping Inter, allegedly, when it comes to providing favourable referees for their fixtures. There are multiple conflicting reports again, and we have just heard as well that Inter players and Inter management are not under investigation.
No.
But then there are also reports saying that they are under investigation. So
We'll have time will tell.
time will tell. We don't want
It could be a whole betting thing. It could be we don't know yet, and that's the reality.
Exactly. But the specific incidents which are alleged are that in the Udinese Parma game on the 1st of March 2025, there is a video that appears to show Rocchi knocking on the glass of the Lissone VAR room during a review of a possible handball. The review was reversed and a penalty was awarded to Udinese, who converted to win 1-0. The prosecution alleges Rocchi directly influenced the outcome.
Naughty.
Everyone says how like VAR is the problem. It's the people behind VAR that is the problem.
Yeah.
Rocchi, who is supposed to maintain this fairness in Serie A and on refereeing decisions, it turns out he could be the most corrupt person and the reason why there is no consistency when it comes to VAR decisions in Italy. But this is all alleged, right? I'm getting a bit excited. Bologna against Inter and the Coppa Italia semi-final against Milan from 2024 to 2025. Rocchi was accused of manipulating referee assignments, specifically assigning Daniele Doveri, who is considered unwelcome to Inter's hierarchy, to the Coppa Italia fixture to shield him from the most important inter-league games. So like that, they use him for the Coppa Italia, so no one says, but Daniele Doveri never referees for Inter games. But then in the league, which is where they were putting kind of all their eggs in that basket, he wasn't assigned. Inter against Roma in 2025. Now, this one goes against Inter, right? The unawarded penalty involving Indica and Bissek. We all remember this. Previously assessed, archived, and now reopened. VAR supervisor Gervasoni's failure to recommend a review is central in this case. All okay?
Yes.
Okay. Inter against Verona on January 2024, where VAR official Nasha later demoted after failing to flag a foul in the build-up to an Inter goal. Sporting Justice archived it. The criminal courts have now reopened it. So multiple situations where we're all screaming for continuity, where perhaps we saw referees suspended or sent down to Serie B as a punishment, but in actual fact, allegedly, this is a top-down problem. So watch this space. We'll be bringing you news updates or huge updates regarding all of these happenings. But until then, we won't be speaking about it without any more
And
facts,
this will take time for sure.
Yeah, they're calling it Calciopoli 2.0.
I mean,
I wonder who's asking for that name.
It's to be honest, bro. The whole Calciopoli thing wasn't even. This might be worse. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see.
I don't think so.
I think that could be, man.
I don't think it's worse.
The other one was targeted yellow cards, no? This could be actually influencing decisions on the pitch in the VAR room. That's worse.
We'll
That
wait
is
and
worse,
see.
yes.
We'll
have to wait and
and
see, before we get too ahead of ourselves, as you
Exactly.
correctly said. Bro, get to the prostitutes, man. What's going on there?
I mean, this to me, if it were up to me, wouldn't even mention this on the podcast. But there's, so let me use my notes.
Yeah.
Milan police dismantled a luxury escort ring operating behind a Milan-based events company. 4 people were arrested for exploitation and aiding and abetting prostitution. The company sold all-inclusive luxury events, hotel stays, parties, escorts, and laughing gas. And laughing gas is illegal for recreational use in Italy, unlike the prostitutes. To wealthy clients in Milan and on the Greek island of Mykonos. The operation reportedly generated around 1.2 million euros. They aren't only footballers that are under investigation. There is also an alleged F1 driver. When it comes to footballers, Italian newspapers including Il Giornale, Corriere dello Sport and Tutto Sport published lists of names associated with the investigation. According to reports citing investigators, more than 60 current and former Serie A players appear in the files as clients. Named individuals include players from Inter, Milan, Juve, Lazio, among other clubs. We do have a list of some names over here. I don't like this whole names shit. We're going to skip out on that.
Do you remember when the whole Tonali scandal happened and Fagioli and all that? The list of names that Corona had published. Ooh, I have a list.
I'm still
there's
waiting.
like
Corona.
Yeah. He had even published names, and those players were never proven to be guilty, so it's just defamation, you know.
And I mean, okay, and keep in mind, everything that we've said right now are criminal investigations. There's nothing having to do with sport.
Yeah.
So we'll wait and see what comes out over there. But it's not illegal to, have sex with prostitutes in Italy. It's illegal to use laughing gas. So unless, these players were laughing their asses off,
then they weren't doing anything.
They weren't doing anything wrong. Unless they were smiling. They weren't doing anything
what's that
wrong.
I heard in there? Was that a laugh? No chocolate.
No. It's a prostitute.
Okay.
No, babe, it's a prostitute.
Shall
Anyway,
we?
I think Matchday 34 is why the majority of you are here. Brother, what's our first game?
We've got Torino 2, Inter 2, brother. Inter arrived at the Olimpico Grande Torino a week after beating Como 3-2 to reach the Coppa Italia final, as we mentioned. And Kivu decided to rotate quite significantly, of course. You can see the likes of Bastoni, Çalhanoğlu and Dumfries rested, while Lautaro Martinez and Henrique were also absent. Torino had 40 points coming into this game. They were comfortable. They had no pressure, no stress whatsoever, relaxed. The commentator even making jokes about them being at the beach, etc., etc. However, their home form has been very good. 4 consecutive home games without a defeat at home coming into this one. So the stage was set. A nice little historical note for you, brother. Torino have only won one of their last 10 home meetings with Inter. So, let's get into the lineups. We have Paleari in goal for Torino and their 3-4-2-1 formation with Ebosse, Smiley and Cocco at the back. Obrador on the left with Lozaro on the right. Ginetis and Ilkan in the middle with Adams and Vlasic playing off the shoulders of Simeone. As for Inter, it was Sommer in goal in their 3-5-2 formation with Bissek, Akanji and Carlos Augusto at the back, Darmian on the right, Di Marco on the left, with Sucic, Zielinski and Barella in the middle, Thuram and Boni starting together up front. So, Inter looked like they were set to clinch the Scudetto, to be honest. They were leading 2-0 through headed goals from Thuram and Bissek, but Torino refused to roll over and they pulled one back in the 70th minute through Simeone. That was my goal of the week. And then Vlasic converted a penalty in the 79th to turn it into 2-2. So Inter's celebrations have been delayed. They can actually win the league next week in their own stadium in San Siro against Parma, which would be massive for them. It actually works out really well to win it in front of their fans.
Yeah.
But a great comeback from Torino, who are now unbeaten at home in 4 matches. So, brother, I thought that the absence of Bastoni, Çalhanoğlu, Dumfries, these kind of things, man, they I feel like Inter tend to become complacent at times. You know, we've said this before. There's a certain arrogance that Inter tend to play with. And sometimes they don't close out games, or sometimes some players don't show that that spirit or that mentality that they need to. Particularly this game, Boni, man. Boni is a little bit indifferent at times. He doesn't wear his heart on his... Well, it's not that he doesn't wear his heart on his sleeve. He's just not that... that hard working. When the going gets tough, he doesn't get going.
Is it that, or is it a systemic thing with Inter, a tactical thing with Inter? Because that's what I kind of point towards. Because it feels like, especially earlier on in the season, Inter have been conceding late goals. That's the difference between them this season, last season, and the season before. They're one of the sides that, that close out games easier. Inter close out games when they put 3-4 past their opponents. But when they put 2 past their opponents, they're still vulnerable in many ways. Now, I haven't seen it happen in a while, to be honest, that a team got a comeback like this. It could be the case that maybe there weren't certain individuals on the pitch, or the fact that they had midweek Coppa Italia. It could be the fact that Torino have this new way of playing that actually allows them to attack creatively and to attack with proper intent, you know. But to me, it seems like it's more of a systemic thing where, like, they insist on playing a high line, even when they have that, narrow advantage, like you see in Simeone's goal. They literally play through the lines for that. So I think it's more that than the indifference of players,
Fair enough. Okay. Yes, I'm sure. Actually, that's a great point. Also, the fact that there was a little bit of rotation helped. It didn't quite help them with maintaining their usual tempo, and their press was quite sluggish in the second half, which probably is a result of the midweek action.
Yes. Also, that was never a fucking penalty.
That's what I was going to actually jump to, because it's a weird one, bro. The distance between Carlos Augusto's arm and Zapata's head is too close for it to be a penalty. However, he isn't jumping with Zapata. He's on the ground. His arm is up in the air, and that shot would have been towards goal. So it's a weird one.
It's a weird one, but it's such a natural position, but I know apparently no one cares about natural positions anymore. But the distance is too...
It's too close. I do agree with that.
Close. He has his arm on the opponent, eh?
Yeah.
I mean, he's marking a player, for crying out loud. Like, you can't do that anymore.
I mean, in theory, let's imagine that you're standing and Duvan Zapata, built like a brick shithouse, jumps up in the air in front of you. You're obviously automatically going to reach out, because that's people say it wasn't actually a natural position because his arm was up in the air. I see what you mean. However, I think in a situation like that, it's only natural to literally do
like,
this.
The term natural position I kind of don't like, because in football you have unnatural movements. It's not like, you're going for a walk and the equivalent of a natural position of when you're going for a walk or when you're jogging is the same as a natural position of when you're playing football. Natural position is if the striker is going up for a header, you put an arm on him. That is a natural position in football. So I don't think that was a penalty. I think Inter were hard done by after they chose the ref for the game.
Yes, but shout out to Torino for pressing and panicking the Inter players and forcing that entire situation to happen. They forced Zielinski, I believe it was, into a mistake. Yeah. We have a funny comment from Tyson who says, no Napoli players linked to the prostitution scandal. Confirmed that Conte does not allow his players to have sex.
Sure.
Yes.
I think it's because De Laurentiis has a good contact and he keeps it all under wraps. He has someone on the inside.
Maybe. Top performers, bro, for this game. If we had to go and give someone their flowers, we have two people that we need to do to congratulate over here. Big congratulations goes to Marcus Thuram for getting his 50th goal for Inter.
There's a bigger congratulations here.
Yes. And a landmark moment for Di Marco, who has broken the record for the most Serie A assists in a single season.
That's huge. That's 18
Massive.
assists.
18 assists, beating
Previous
Papu Gomez's
record was Papu Gomez on 16.
Yeah. He beat it this game and then got another one on top of it.
Exactly. Was it 16 or 17, Papu? I think 16.
I'm not sure. I think it was.
Ronaldinho's was 18.
I'm
but
not sure.
It was
He broke the record this game, right? He didn't with the first goal. So
so
I
he would have
believe
gone
yes.
from 16 to 17,
Exactly.
then 17 to 18.
It was so sweet to see how happy Thuram was for him. By the way, Thuram started he became all giddy and smiled and ran up to him and gave him a hug and he was like record.
I have to say as well, take nothing away from Di Marco. You know what fans we are of Di Marco as a player, putting aside what club he represents. What a fucking season it's been for him. He went quiet for a month and everyone's saying this guy isn't the MVP. He's most definitely the MVP. He has 18 assists in a single season. It has never happened in Serie A, not once. And he's done it. He's made it happen, and he's made it happen for the team that is going to win the league. So he's absolutely the MVP.
When you break that record as a left back, I mean, at the end of the day, okay, you're a left wing back, but you're still a left back.
I was gonna say sorry, but what a header that was by Bisek. It's they've got, look at me. What the hell? No, some crust. But Inter have so many players that can head the fucking ball, man.
Yeah.
That header by Bisek was
violent,
amazing.
man. Violent header, really. On Di Marco, man. In a world where you have Theo Hernandez, Hakimi, and Cancelo, you have Di Marco. If the others are gods when it comes to that position, Di Marco would be a demigod. Yeah. He has the body and the hair of a mere mortal, but the left foot of a god. And it just makes him all that more enjoyable to watch, knowing that this guy, there's something relatable about Di Marco, you know what I mean? It's kind of like the thing with Baggio as well, that certain stumpiness and all that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, I like that. He looks like just a regular working man, you know?
Yeah.
He has that whole thing with his hair. No one knows if he's bald or not because he bleaches it really light just to create some kind of an illusion.
Well, he's definitely bald now.
He's definitely... No, I'm a huge fan, and Jake's been a fan of him since when, bro?
I've been a fan of him for ages, man. To be honest with you, I
Yeah,
remember him
joined
scoring. I remember him scoring against Inter with Parma, and I had put a tweet, "Be like Di Marco," because he celebrated against them. Yeah. He was at Hellas. He was a monster. I had him on Fanta. I picked him up for one credit. It was amazing. I really enjoyed this game, man. Ilkan. He can play a ball.
Ilkan is
He's
good,
He's good.
Ilkan, I've been enjoying Ilkan as well. I particularly, let me just pull up the lineup over here because I don't quite have it. Nice. Thank you so much. Ilkan and Genetis, just in general, it's a very good double pivot for how they're playing football. Off the ball, it's more about how compact the team becomes and how Vlasic is rejoining. Because off the ball, they look more like a 3-5-2. Because you have Vlasic that slots into the centre midfield alongside Genetis and Ilkan. Because those two aren't the most physical kind of players. But with Vlasic over there, they can create a numerical advantage. And then Shea Adams and Simeone are both involved in the press off the ball. So I like how they go from compact and then those triangles and diamonds moving forward, man, on the counter. Yeah.
Ismaili, I thought, had a very good game as well. When he's on, that guy, he's one of the best in the league, funnily enough.
True.
Really enjoy him.
He had a great record
defender.
for Empoli last season.
Yeah. Brother, there's no scenario where Inter fucking no chance.
The scenario is if one day we'll be talking about Il Grande Inter, if you catch my drift. No, there's
Oh my
absolutely
God.
there's
Fair enough.
absolutely
There's
no way
chance.
that
No, they win it
no.
next match against Parma.
And
right?
they deserve it. Like
Yeah.
I got into a bit of a comment war last time, where we had our video comment war. I replied to someone's reply to us. It wasn't really much of a war. Where I praised Kivu for what he was able to do with this same Inter side as last year, barring the new strikers. And he said, this person said, I disagree, they could be doing more in the league, basically. Or no, that they don't have competition. He said, I disagree, Inter have no competition in the league. And I said, listen,
there's most definitely
I
competition.
disagree, because Napoli last season won the league with 82 points.
Yeah.
So what do you mean there isn't competition when you could be getting 81 points, you know?
Even the fact that you're up against the likes of Allegri and Conte, man, that's what these people
No
have to remember.
competition.
In no competition, you have two of the most.
Nah,
You know,
it's a
you're up
ridiculous
against people who
statement.
have won it before. Even the fact that Pioli was at Fiorentina, that's competition. You know what I mean? There was obviously competition, and okay, it wasn't the strongest performance by the top teams in Serie A, but that's because Inter blew everyone out of the
They
water.
were
Inter won it
bloody
against the small teams. Their
consistent,
record
man.
against the top teams wasn't great. They did what the other teams couldn't do. They
Inter won
smashed the
it.
small ones.
Inter won it between their two losses to Milan.
Yeah.
Those two losses between them just win 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 loss. That was Inter.
We have
That's
been your
where they
hosts.
won it. Jake
Brilliant.
and Matt.
Amazing. Okay, bro. I also want to give Giovanni Simeone his flowers.
Double figures, no?
Double figures this season. He's racked up 10 goals, and he has scored against the likes of Roma, Lazio, Napoli, Milan, and now Inter. He's a big game player, Simeone.
Mm-hmm. I want to see him leave the league. There, I said it. That's
my
not because
God.
I don't like watching him play, but we've seen him at Napoli, and now he's taken a hit down and moved to a Torino side. I think that for his style of striker, as much as he's growing into the Serie A style more, he's doing well at Torino, etc. I think he'd thrive in a league like La Liga. Honestly, I think something where he's afforded a bit more space because he's really good.
His movement is very smart. I like the way he was linking up with Ilkan, because Ilkan was he could see what run he was going to make every time. I think that this league is fine for him. He just needs to go to a club where he's going to play regularly. Like I like the setup for him, to be honest with you. I'd try another season, man, if I were him at Torino.
Sure.
You know, it's a fine team, and
Torino, a fine team.
they're
I mean,
fine.
They're
They're-
historic,
yes,
whatever.
they will sell if a good offer comes in theory. Yes.
But let's just say Torino are like Hotel California, no? As in,
You can check out anytime you like, but you can never leave.
you could do well all you want. You're never getting better than 10th. That's-
Yeah.
Torino,
But I think
you
that's
know?
Simeone's level if he wants to be a starter. Unfortunately for him,
Unless he goes to like a Bologna.
but they're in the same water. They're
Mhm.
not much better than that, are they, at the
True.
moment? But yeah.
Shall we jump?
Yes, let's jump.
Let's jump.
So
Okay.
we have
Yes,
the
let's jump. Don't worry,
standings.
because it's Milan Juve. We're all gonna jump.
yeah, literally. Inter are first, of course, with 79 points. They have a 10-point advantage, while Torino are in 13th with 41 points.
Throwback to last episode during our prediction series, where we said who's going to win Milan against Juve, and we both said draw. We both said the most boring game of the season, the most boring 90 minutes. Yes, that was a fact. Look, both teams went into this game with one clear idea, which is don't lose.
Don't risk.
Don't risk, because Juve were 5 points ahead of Como and Roma. Milan were 6 points, I think, ahead of Como and Roma, or 7 points ahead of Como and Roma. And no risks were needed to be taken. I think if there was a team that needed the victory more, it was Juve, because they're now in a little bit of danger with the teams lurking behind them. But I do think that the first 45 minutes, I think we saw desire from both teams. I think the first 45 minutes were decent. This was the big match day. This was the Sunday 8:45 fixture. Milan were third on 66, Juve fourth on 63. A direct 6-pointer for the battle of Champions League football, which is both these teams' primary goal. Allegri faced his former club, of course, from the opposing dugout, and so did Rabiot. Milan returned Fofana from injury. Bartesaghi started, but he was less than 100%. Yildiz was benched again by Spalletti due to fitness concerns, and Juve missed Perin, Cabal, whose season is over, and Milik. This was the second consecutive 0-0 between these two sides, and potentially third. I think it was the third consecutive 0-0 between these two teams. For Milan, it was a 3-5-2 formation with Mike in goal and the backline of Pavlovic, Gabbia and Tomori. Bartesaghi on the left, Salemakers on the right, and a midfield three of Rabiot, Modric and Fofana, with Leao and Pulisic up front together. It was a 3-4-2-1 formation for Spalletti's men, with Di Gregorio in goal, a backline of Kalulu, Bremer and Kelly, McKennie on the right, Cambiaso on the left, double pivot of Locatelli and Thuram, with Conceição and Boga playing behind David. The best chance of the game came in the 34th minute. Well, not the best chance, a great chance came in the 34th minute, where Rabiot drove the ball into the box with a brilliant touch, and he fired a really powerful strike at goal, but it was straight at Di Gregorio, who stood tall and beat the ball wide. Just a minute after that, Juve had the ball in the back of the net through Kefrem Thuram, who we've been saying this guy needs to get more goals to his name, and since we've said that, it seems like he's been more often than not on the score sheet, but the goal was disallowed because Conceição's ball found Thuram in an offside position. It was a great movement, but it was a bit of great movement by Gabbia off the ball.
Amazing.
To play the offside trap, which you showed me just before the episode started.
Bro, that's the brain on that guy. How clever the way he played the trap, and he made it look like a really clear and easy decision to make, to be honest. The first replay,
so relaxed,
immediately everyone knew like that's offside. Fantastic leadership at the back by Gabbia.
It's so good to have him back. Then the 39th minute, Conceição took a beautiful touch following a Locatelli ball, and he fired from a tight angle, but Mike did a great job to just save it with his chest and stand tall. In the 50th minute, this was definitely the best chance of the game. Really good move by Leao. He played through Salemakers. The ball took a bit of a bubble before the Belgian made contact with it, and thus he ended up hitting the crossbar. From then on, absolutely nothing happened, and I'm not exaggerating. Nothing happened except an injury for Modric after an aerial clash with Locatelli. Modric's season is over.
Was that his last game for Milan, you think?
No, he'll be there next season.
I think so as well.
I think so.
I agree with you.
And look, he's a 40-year-old man who's gearing up for a lot of games this upcoming World Cup. So hopefully he can relax, he can rest. Yes, it's a facial injury, so it's not going to be fun for him to recover, but at least it's not his fucking legs, you know what I mean? Do you agree, bro, with the simple fact that this game wasn't as exciting because, you know, both teams are achieving their goals, and draw is a step in the right direction, whereas a loss could be detrimental for them?
Of course, I was surprised that Juve didn't go for it as much. I thought Milan were the more direct side of both teams, funnily enough. That's what surprised me the most, but I wasn't surprised by how defensively sound Milan were and how they were set up not to take many risks. I mean, Milan have a good advantage. The whole objective of this game was do not lose, and that's exactly what they did. I thought that Milan did create some good opportunities. Salemakers hit the post, as you mentioned. Fofana found himself in the final third on a certain occasion.
No one likes to see that.
No, you don't want to see that, literally. What surprised me, bro, is how come Füllkrug is coming on, not Jimenez, not the guy who was bought for 30+ million.
I mean,
why is the guy?
Don't believe in Santi. But they don't believe in Santi. He's the first one to go in summer. I think that's the case. I think
it's clear
Seems
that that's
like
the case, because you're playing the guy who came in on loan. You have nothing to lose by not playing him, you know, and instead you're letting the asset that you brought in for a large sum of money sit on the bench. You know, you're harming his value at this point.
Exactly.
I don't know. Clearly Allegri doesn't believe in Jimenez at the moment. Let's just say that.
I could really see Santi Jimenez either going to Atalanta or Roma and becoming a beast, man. That's how I see.
Yeah. I thought, because Santiago Jimenez, yes, is that his movement is so good, bro, and the way he he shoots, the technique with which he shoots is actually pretty solid, you know. So I think there is a player there. He just needs to find his confidence, because clearly he also struggles
He
with
needs
confidence.
Tony Sopranos is a therapist.
Melfi,
That's who he
Dr.
needs. He
Melfi.
needs Dr. Melfi.
Uh-huh.
And I think he'll be okay. Good point about the chances created by Milan. Milan had fewer chances than Juve, but a higher XG. Milan's XG was 0.85, Juve's XG was 0.6. Milan had 8 shots, Juve had 10, which just goes to show that Milan created more quality chances, in inverted commas. But Juve were the team more. You know, Allegri was happy to let Juve have the ball, and Conceição was the only one really getting success against the Milan backline. I thought Salamakers defended brilliantly.
He was
I
good,
thought
man.
we got to see Salamakers defending in
Yes,
this game,
yes.
not just breaking lines and counter-attacking, but
This was a
his
much better game.
1v1 defending versus Boga was excellent. Bartezaghi, on the other hand, was getting fucking schooled by Conceição over and over, and as a result, he was substituted with Estupinian at halftime.
You noticed how interesting you had Boga playing on the line, trying to run in behind, and Conceição actually coming a little bit deeper. I thought that was and Conceição, man, he caused a lot of problems.
Oh, man.
Bartezaghi was turning him inside out, and then Estupinian came on. He forced him into a yellow card, and also gave him a bit of a hard time.
Look, man, I see him get a lot of criticism for his final touch, which I understand, but someone who watches Juve quite often and is more often than not rooting against Juve when I'm watching them, I think Conceição is a pain in the fucking ass, and that's a flattering compliment to him, because he's a menace. Like playing against him, he's that mosquito. He's annoying, and he's always gonna do something, and he won't do it perfectly, but he'll cause some kind of chaos in the opposition area. If only he worked on his last touch a bit. I'm not saying like that he's gonna become a sharpshooter or something, but looking up before crossing, or learning when to drill a cross and when to float across. And man, maybe if they had someone other than fucking Jonathan David up front, maybe if they put their chances away, he could actually contribute to more assists.
Fair enough. Yeah, I thought that Leao, man, was a little bit better. I thought he was better. I saw at one point, he played a pass to the ghost of Theo Hernandez. Did you notice that? When he had a nice piece of skill in the middle, and then he played a through ball, and Bartezaghi stopped. He didn't chase it, which at first when I saw it, I'm like, come on, Leao, you expect him to chase that? Then I realized he probably, but it wasn't bad, bro. It wasn't bad. Bartezaghi was looking. He was aware. He should have got on that. And Theo would have got on that, and Theo would have scored that.
Okay,
that was yes, he's not the same,
he's
but he was on the line, he was onside, and he was looking. He needed to do better there, Bartezaghi. And I think he wasn't 100% this game. Conceição was fucking slapping a sausage on his forehead, and he was just having a hard time.
Look, I thought Leao was a bit better.
He was.
Even that move, and he got an assist recently. I thought for the most part he was, he made the right decision. But couple of things. Never taking a man on. Every time he saw Bremer, he was cutting back, and quite frankly, he was a bit of a pussy. Whenever he looked up and saw Bremer, he was exiting that situation and just passing the ball. And look, he gives the ball away so cheaply nowadays, Leao.
He does, man.
Just constantly, bro. Watch the game together, or constantly oh man,
He makes you huff and puff. I mean, it was an improvement, but it's still not good enough.
It was. I thought he was a lot better than Pulisic, or at least a lot more involved than Pulisic. Because was Pulisic on the pitch?
Pulisic played
in this game, because I don't remember seeing him. But yeah, I think that's the tail of the tape. I thought Bremer was excellent for Juve, mainly at keeping Leao quiet. How tough is that at the moment? I'm not quite sure. Milan are likely back in the Champions League for next season, and I hope they'll be back in the Champions League with Allegri, because we've seen Allegri make 2 finals of the Champions League, and he's gifted in knockout competitions. We've seen him win the Coppa Italia as well. So I think with a good transfer market for Milan in the summer and Allegri still at the helm, maybe they can do something in the Champions League. And just a comment on Juve, What a unique period of time we are in, where for the past 6 years, Juve were nowhere near favourites for the Scudetto, but rather their mission for the past 6 years has been get into the top 4, get into the top 4, get into the top 4. I think that next year, with Spalletti having a full pre-season and Juve, if they make Champions League and have a bit of budget to play around with, I think this is the first time in a long, long time where Juve can enter the season as one of the favourites, or at least one of the top 3, where their goal rather than reaching top 4 would be to fight for the league and to win the league. I think next season that is a tangible thing that Juve
It's
can
actually
push for.
realistic because, doing so with Tudor is not realistic. Doing so with Motta is a stretch as well. Doing so
With Pirlo.
with Pirlo is a stretch.
Or Allegri 2.0
yeah.
with
I
that
think-
squad.
I think you might be onto something, and a market tailored to Spalletti's needs would definitely help because they have a very solid foundation, man. They have some good players. They have to sort out the mess up front.
The mess up
That's
front.
the
A
priority.
few more central midfielders are needed. Maybe a centre back as well. But I think,
The goalkeeper maybe.
well, they're
Wing-
saying, they're
fullback.
they're gonna sign fucking
What's his
Lev
name?
Yashin in goal. They're saying.
Alison Becker.
They're gonna sign R9 up
that's
front.
it,
Who else?
everyone else,
Beckenbauer at the back. That's what they're looking at.
I really hope, bro. One last thing, and we'll move on. I really hope that these rumors on Allegri being unhappy are fake. I really hope there's no truth to them. But I keep seeing these journalists saying essentially where there's smoke, there's fire, and there's some unrest, and he's not happy. I keep seeing them. I take them with a pinch of salt, but I really do hope they're not true because I can't bear the thought of having to change manager and go into a fucking new season with a new manager.
It's always hard starting over.
Because then
No one
it's
wants
always
to
hard
start
starting
over.
over, and you kind of have to hope that the person who comes in doesn't have to worry about fixing the defense again.
No, because this is the thing. Like, Milan are in that transitionary period, and the transitionary period won't work if Milan need to make a panic decision on who to bring on in the summer last second as a replacement for Allegri, who steadied the ship and rebrought Milan Champions League football. Because then what are you getting? You're getting maybe an inexperienced or an unsuited manager on a budget who needs to play 3 competitions. You went from having Allegri in 2 competitions to having someone inexperienced playing 3 competitions, and that's the last thing Milan need right now.
Yeah.
I think where there's smoke, there is fire. There definitely is something going on, and I'm not surprised considering the ownership. Zlatan and Allegri are the 3 people working together. They're obviously there are going to be clashes. It's like Ranieri and Gasperini. These things are definitely going to happen. Who's the star of the show? Zlatan wants to be the star of the show. Allegri is the star of the show,
Yeah.
And then there are these Americans at the top who, let's face it, they want to make a profit, they want to be successful, they want everything successful, but then they know little about how to do that in Serie A. So you have these three things just clashing constantly.
You have company man at the top, yeah. No, completely, bro. I'm gonna read out a few of the comments we have over here.
Let me just do this real quick.
Sure.
Milan third, 67 points, while Juve fourth, 64 points, 3 ahead of Como and Roma.
Tyson says, honestly, Simeone at Milan would have been a great shout last summer. Honestly.
Mhm.
And he also says that he regrets that Napoli sold him. Would have been such a good backup to Højlund, especially with Lukaku out. He'd be great with his dad and brother at Atleti. Can you imagine? Just get the whole family there.
Me, you, Papa, Mosta.
Imagine that. This is crazy. Tyson and Daniel in the comments, chatting away, getting along. They're normally always bickering.
They are always bickering, these two. Let me
Inter and
tell you
Napoli.
why. Let me tell you why.
New rivalry.
Let me tell you something. Because these are the ones that go for each other's throats
Constantly.
Like, everyone wants to talk about their own teams. These two, they just want to speak about other people's teams sometimes.
And they always bite back.
They
Always.
of
I love it.
course.
It's a good entertainment.
And sometimes they're so wrong, man. Like, sometimes someone would say something and it would be so hypocritical. And I'm like, oh my God.
Makes for a
Let's
great
jump to your game, bro. Next game being
It's
Napoli's.
all love between us, they said. Yep. Napoli is the next game, actually. Tyson, for you, my friend. My friend.
My friend.
Anyway,
He
let's.
is your friend. Why do you have to
No,
call
but
that
it's
out?
funny because in Malta we say my friend to a person you don't know, like.
To foreigners.
Yeah, to foreigners. All right, my friend.
All right, my friend.
Yeah, I realized that. But anyway, so Napoli 4, Cremonese 0. I predicted a draw here.
Congratulations, bro.
Thanks. It was terrible. So Napoli, a bit of context.
Do
over
we
here.
have water?
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
You want it with or without creatine? So Napoli came into this game needing 3 points to keep the Scudetto race mathematically alive and to avoid becoming the first loser of the standings, according to Conte. But yes, they had been on good form, to be honest, prior to their shock loss against Lazio, and this was the bounce-back fixture that they needed. So Cremonese coming into this had 28 points, level with Lecce, and just one win in their last 10, and that was actually Giampaolo's first match in charge of Cremonese. They got the bounce, they won, and then they just haven't won since. They've only managed 1 draw and 4 losses since then. They were missing the likes of Jamie Vardy, Martin Thorsby, Faris Mumbania, and Michele Colo. Yes. So, for Napoli, Vanja Milinkovic-Savic was in goal as they lined up in their 3-4-2-1 formation with Buongiorno, Rahmani and Oliveira at the back, Gutierrez on the left, Politano on the right, with McTominay and Lobotka as a double pivot, Santos on the left, De Bruyne on the right, and Højlund playing up front. Flat 4-4-2 for Giampaolo's men, with Audero on goal, Terracciano as the right back, Petzella as the left back, Luperto and Baschirotto playing as the centre-backs, with Mussolini on the right, Okereke on the left, Male and Bondo in the middle, with Paiero and Bonazzoli starting up front. In fact, I would say that this was not
quite a
exactly a
4-4-2.
4-4-2 indeed.
I agree.
But yeah, you know how it is. They tend to move. So this was a statement bounce back from Conte's boys. Cremonese had 0 shots in the first 45 minutes, and Napoli were in front inside of 3 minutes and 3-0 up before halftime. Just to really explain what an absolute bollocking this was.
Yeah.
McTominay squandered a late penalty that would have made it 5. For Cremonese, it was a dismal evening that intensifies the relegation fight, and the only reason why they aren't totally worried right now is because Lecce actually have bottled it as well, because they had a favourable fixture, Lecce, and they didn't win. So it's still very much alive, this relegation fight. So, bro, Cremonese got completely overloaded. Okay, the 3 at the back allowed Politano and Gutierrez to push extremely high as wing-backs, or as wingers as well, stretching the midfield 4 to a breaking point, essentially. De Bruyne, McTominay and Santos formed this lovely triangle behind Højlund, creating overloads in half spaces that Cremonese simply did not have any answers for. Lobotka, as always, dictated the tempo, and it looked like, honestly, they weren't even breaking a sweat doing what they were doing.
Will you be taking us through the goals?
I can take you through the goals, yes.
Very briefly.
Of course. So McTominay picked up the ball at the edge of the box in the 3 minutes into the game. He drove forward into space and unleashed a fierce diagonal shot into the bottom left corner. Audero was rooted, and this is his 3rd goal in his last 5 games. In the 45th minute, it was Højlund's turn to score. He won a physical challenge with Baschirotto. He cut in from the left, and his shot deflected off Terracciano into the back of the net. That's an own goal for Terracciano. At the end of the first half, it was De Bruyne who got one back as Alisson Santos played it wide to McTominay, who pulled it back into the area acrobatically. It was kind of like a Zlatan-esque scissor kick to keep the ball alive. Yeah, it was amazing. Male was asleep, and De Bruyne arrived and slotted home from close range. And then, of course, in the 52nd minute was Alisson Santos, who scored his trademark near-post finish from a Napoli counter-attack from just outside the area, carrying the ball from midfield and drifting inside and firing precisely to beat out there at his near post.
Yeah, amazing. What a goal that was.
A
by
lovely goal, huh?
Santos at the
Absolutely
end.
beautiful.
Just weapons everywhere. What I enjoyed was that before half-time, McTominay, Højlund, De Bruyne, 3 made in Manchester.
Made in Manchester, literally. Yeah. But the most exciting of the lot is by far, in my opinion, this Alisson Santos, man.
I think Alisson Santos next season needs to be a starter every single game.
Yeah.
This guy needs to get as many minutes as possible, because from the few minutes that he's gotten the opportunity this season at the latter stages of the 2026 season, he's shown us that he broke onto the scene as similarly to Kvaratskhelia as possible. Like, if he had a full season at Napoli, I'm not saying he would have been Kvara level, but he could have had Kvara impact, especially when Napoli have spent such a long time struggling for pace out wide with the Politanos of the world, and when Lang wasn't performing well, and when Neres went out injured. This guy could have been there from the start, and he could have been, impacting Napoli from the start and making them a fierce counter-attacking machine of a team. And not only does he have pace and dribbling, but he can hit the ball from distance as well, which we saw in this game. I think he has an incredibly high ceiling, man. Incredibly high.
Yeah, absolutely, bro. I have a question for you.
Okay.
Is McTominay the best British player in Europe
No.
right now?
No. Harry Kane.
Harry Kane.
It has to be Harry
Has to
Kane.
be Harry Kane,
McTominay is low-key my favorite footballer. I'll make that very clear. I have a strong connection with Scotland, and I love Scottish players. I love McTominay. I think the way that he plays, the fact that he's a fucking soldier and a leader, a bit of a late bloomer, stayed at United a bit too long. He was misused, goes to Italy, and he does what he does. He's full of swagger as well. I love McTominay. I love him. But I don't think there's anyone that touches Harry Kane. Any British players that touch Harry Kane at the moment.
No, he's amazing. He's sensational.
He's amazing, and then he's about to win the Champions League with Bayern, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Bro, I mean, there isn't really much to say. I mean, Cremonese had a nightmare. The entire backline was brutal, to be honest.
I have a question.
Okereke was totally isolated, and Male not focused enough.
I have a question for you.
Please.
What is to come of Lorenzo Lucca?
What is to come of Lorenzo Lucca? To be honest, bro, I'm not sure, because he's been fizzled out at Forest. He's not being used.
He's off back to Napoli.
He's going back to Napoli, I guess.
And they're not gonna keep him.
Probably alone to an Italian. But what team would go for Lucca's stock has I'm not sure. Actually, the fact that his value has depleted a little bit
makes Milan an honest candidate for him.
I think
Milan love a dipping player.
We can fix
him. We can fix him.
Can't afford to get it wrong again, to be honest with you. Right now, even I would say it's way too risky. But you never know, man.
Is too risky for
you
Milan.
never know. He might end up somewhere in mid-table. Lucca and Serie A or move abroad, but I'm not sure right now. He's in a weird place right now, Lucca. Absolutely. I'll give you a historic note, bro.
I love
Cremonese have never won a Serie A match at the Maradona. In 17 visits, they have 0 wins and 4 draws. Napoli have won 13 of those fixtures. The last time Cremonese beat Napoli in Serie A was a 2-0 victory in Cremona back in 1994, bro.
1994. My God, not even you were born back then, bro.
Yeah. Oh my God, Daniel literally wrote that Lorenzo Lucca has Milan written all over him.
Fuck, Matt beat me to it.
Yeah.
I'm always first. All right.
Except right now, you're second to Alan.
Damn. Where do they stand, brother?
So we have Napoli in second place with 69 points. Nice. And we have Cremonese in 18th with 28 points, 1 point below Lecce and 17th.
I forgot to mention any of you players that are implicated in this prostitution scandal. I forgive you. Bologna 0, Roma 2. a rematch loaded with Europa League history. Keep in mind, Roma came for revenge over here. Just, it was weeks ago that Roma were eliminated, allegedly one of the favourites to win the Europa League, knocked out by Vincenzo Italiano's Bologna. Of course, this was also crucial for the Champions League race, which Roma still find themselves a significant part of. It was a nightmare week for Roma off the pitch. We spoke about this last week. Mattias broke it down. Patron Mattias, shout out to Mattias. Ranieri has officially been sacked by Roma. Ranieri, who has taken on the role as an advisor for Roma, publicly fell out with Gasperini, called him out saying that you knew all about the players that we were signing. Stop pretending. This is on you. You were our fourth choice. And the ownership finally took a decision, and they are Team Gasperini, so they sacked Ranieri. It seems like the players are with Gasperini, but I wouldn't be surprised if all of this affected the players, because they had an uncertainty of who's going to be our coach. Are we going to lose Gasperini again? Maybe some of them have a strong connection with Ranieri, who managed them last season. So this was all weighing down on Roma, I'm sure. When it comes to Bologna, they were without Bernardeschi, so it wasn't that deep. His season is over with
one of the better players.
He has been. His season is over with a muscular injury. I'm actually pleasantly surprised with how Bernardeschi's been after returning from Toronto. They also missed Skorupski, Dallinga and Chazale. Roma were missing Kone, Pellegrini, Dovbyk and Ferguson. But Paulo Dybala is back.
For now.
Like, Paulo Dybala's back, like he's going to have a huge impact, but it's like you have an action figure and you're just going to put him there. And like, I don't know, he has like +5 aura or something. 3-4-2-1 for Italiano's men, Ravaglia in goal, backline of Hegem, Lukumi and Helland. Miranda on the left, João Mario on the right, double pivot of Freuler and Ferguson, with Rowe and Orsolini playing behind Castro. For Roma, it was also a 3-4-2-1 formations. Villar in goal, backline of Mancini and Deca and Hermoso. Celik on the right, Wesley on the left, double pivot of El Ainaoui and Cristante, with Sole and Pisilli playing behind Doniel Malin, who opened the scoring in the 7th minute. It was a great ball by El Ainaoui, but I have to say, man, the run off the ball by Malin, I've never seen such a perfect run in my life. He was exactly onside, and then the finish was just brilliant as well, low into the far corner past Ravaglia. And then it was in the 46th minute, still in the first half, where the roles were swapped, because Malin assisted Neil El Ainaoui.
Baby, if you give it to me, I'll give it to you. No way his name is Neil.
His name is Neil El Ainaoui. We shouldn't laugh, because your name is Jake Fennec.
Yes.
And my name is Matthew Fennec.
Yes.
So yes. Seconds before the first half came to an end, Malin hit a Triveu cross. For those who don't know, Triveu, it's Trivela in Brazil. Once he hit that, you could just see those 4 or 5 women. What a Triveu that was by Malin. It couldn't have been easier for El Ainaoui to volley that in.
The chop and the build-up as well was amazing.
It was amazing.
Now, he's so good. Even at one point in the 25th minute, he takes one touch to beat his man.
That's all it takes.
One touch.
One touch.
One touch, and he's cooked him. He's
But you know
totally
why?
destroyed
You know why?
Lukumi,
Yeah,
and he tries
because-
to dink the keeper.
All
and
right, I was about to say that's because he's a no bullshit player, but
Yeah.
that dink,
The dink was a bit,
was a bit
was a bit-
bullshitty from him. But he is direct. If you give
Yes.
the ball to him anywhere, his initial thing is, I'm going to direct the ball towards goal. I'm going to move towards goal, and he's so smart with it. And I mentioned Harry Kane before, and the way he drops down and creates chances for himself kind of reminds me of the same type of striker that Harry Kane is, and similar to the type of striker Benzema is, where he likes to start those attacks himself. Look at that Triveu, bro. It's coming up now.
And even the sorry, it wasn't a chop, it was a back heel in the build-up play.
Yeah.
But absolutely amazing, man. Absolutely. Honestly, Malin, I'm out of superlatives for him.
Literally, I think he's the best striker in the league.
Yes.
That
yeah, we said it.
I'll go that bold. In the 59th minute, Orsolini whacked the crossbar. I normally wouldn't mention that someone just hits the post, but he fucked like oh my god, how it that was beast of a strike by Orsolini in the 59th, and then the 73rd, headlines everywhere because Dybala entered the pitch. No, welcome back, Dybala. Of course, he was out for 3 months with an injury, and he's back in a Roma shirt. It's always good to see.
How funny was De Silvestri's miss at the end, where they squared it to him, and he somehow managed to kick it the wrong way. It was an empty post.
God.
This is the second miss of this nature in the league. This match
right?
day. Yes. Who was the other one, bro?
What a miss it was by what's his name, bro?
Zaniolo. The same type of miss. It ends up going backwards. Yeah.
Similar to Leao's miss last week. Just cleared it off the line. Just a couple of points on the game. I thought Bologna were quite stubborn with the high line in the first half. When you have Malin, Sule, etc., just constantly breaking that defensive line by Bologna, it's not wise to continue it. They cooled it off in the second half, but it was a significant problem in the first. We've seen Bologna concede so many goals just by Italiano being a bit hard-headed and insisting to play with this high line when maybe he's not equipped with the players to play with a high line. But that's his philosophy. I guess hopefully next year, if he's still there, they'll give him the players that could actually track back and win the ball back in that case. I think they are they are for sure going to have a season without Europe next year. So it really allows them for the first time in a while to kind of recalibrate, see what type of team they want to build, whether or not they're going to stay on with Italiano. So it's not the worst thing in the world for Bologna to be able to reset like this.
Absolutely. I think Italiano needs to really look at this Bologna project and to think to himself, is it going to get better? Have I peaked? Have I done all I could over here? And to be honest, I think the answer to that would probably be yes, because they haven't really demonstrated themselves to be an ambitious team. Bologna. They have been declining.
That's it. Because they take his best players away. That's the biggest problem. And the reinforcements, Bernardeschi, Rowe, they're not exactly the kind of players that Bologna need to take it to the next level. Typically you finish 5th and next season you want to finish 4th, but that didn't seem to be the case. Last season you win the Coppa, maybe you want to push in the league a bit more or push in the Europa League, but they're a step behind at the moment, Bologna, and I really, really rate Italiano as a manager. I don't think this is completely on him. I think it's getting a little bit stale between both parties and they both need to move on. Normally,
man, when you watch Bologna play, you have Italiano like this fierce bulldog puppet master on the side, and the team pressing and running like animals passionately for him. And I feel like that's kind of fizzling out a little bit. I think he might need to jump ship before his stock gets damaged.
Well, there's definitely going to be teams next season looking for managers. I think with Conte potentially taking the Italy job, there's a nice spot open at Napoli. He won't go back to Fiorentina, and I don't think anyone should touch Fiorentina with a 7-foot pole for next season's role.
If you don't touch the relegation spot in a season, you'll do much better.
True.
So, you can get that on your CV.
Potentially Lazio, in case Sarri takes the Italy job, there will be vacancies next year. As I mentioned earlier, it was a very mentally exhausting week for Roma, and they do need to secure 5th spot. They're 3 points behind 4th, but they're currently level on points with Como. And if Como outperform them, even though Como have an upcoming game against Napoli, if they fall to 6th and Lazio win the Europa League, then that 6th place Europa League spot goes to the winner of the Coppa Italia, which means that 6th place then get knocked down to Conference League, and the winners of Coppa Italia get Europa League football. So that'd be a sick day for Lazio fans and a horrible day for any Roma fans. So I think they have a clear mission now, and it brings me to a point where I want to ask you, bro, with the level of frustration that there is from Roma fans at the moment, considering how their season has gone so far. With 4 games left to go of the season, them being 3 points behind Juve and 5th, is it really that bad? I mean, they were 1 point behind Juve last season. The season before 6th, season before 6th, season before 6th.
It's fine. It's a fine season. It's a good season. The bigger question over here is how are they going to build on this season? Because a season like this is good if you aim to improve in the next one.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem is every time Roma have a season like this, they change everything. You know,
They will improve, for sure. For sure, I have no doubt.
I love the fact that they let Ranieri go, not because I have something against Ranieri, obviously, but it's because Roma have taken a stance to support their manager, and that was the smartest thing they could do in this turmoil. I spoke about this last week. I said that Milan came to Roma. He was grabbed by Gasperini and made into one of the top scorers of the league immediately. So he would obviously have an affinity towards Gasperini. I think that they have nice pieces, man. Wesley out on the wing is very dangerous. You can tweak the team a little bit, give them another market, a good pre-season, and try to build on what you've done.
And I said so confidently that they will improve because they're going to have Milan for a full season. They've had Milan since January, and he's on 11 goals since January. The record for a player that was signed in January until the end of the season, how many goals they scored, was Balotelli with 12, I believe, with Milan.
Yes, for sure.
It was with Milan. He joined Milan in January, scored 12 goals from January onwards.
I had seen his
Milan's on
first
11 right now, I remember.
Udinese.
A penalty goal
Yeah.
and another goal from open play. He's on 11 goals. The record is 12. And he's 5 behind Lautaro, which is
mental.
Crazy. I want to, of course, give a shout out to El Lainawi because last week I said I don't know what anyone sees in him. And then this week he got a goal and an assist.
He turned those flashes into a full-on game-changing performance.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's all he usually typically shows. These flashes where you say,
I
oh, that
liked
looked
him in
good.
those moves, man. I liked him a lot.
He was
in
really
those
good,
moves.
really good. Well done, Neil.
Well done, Neil. I want to ask you a question as well. Where is Zaragoza?
I believe, bro, it's a city in Spain.
Where is he, man?
I don't know where he is. I don't know. Is he fit? Was he on the bench?
I think he's fit.
So he's not injured, right? I'm not sure
Let's have a
because
look at
he
Zaragoza.
looked okay when he came on those few times at the beginning when they signed
That's
him.
why.
But then Gasperini, to be honest, literally stated like, I don't know who this guy is. He said there are people who make big signings and there are people who sign Zaragoza and Vaz. So, so not a great.
Well, he's not on the bench and he's not on the list of injured players. Which continues to pose the question, where is Zaragoza?
Hashtag where is Zaragoza, guys?
If you know where Zaragoza is, let me know. If he's not playing for like their Futuro team or under 21s, that's actually ridiculous.
He
it's
might
really
be.
stupid.
I'll look him up actually right now.
Yeah. But I think that's that on Roma. It is an exciting time. I know there's a lot of frustration around the camp right now, but if I was a Roma fan, I'd actually be very excited about where the club find themselves right now. I think there's very promising signs, considering the recent string of results, considering the move to stick with Gasperini, considering the signing of Milan, and just considering how there is this element of togetherness. And that was kind of, the spotlight of that was taken away from the little feud that there was between Ranieri and Gasperini. But I think it's like the first time since Mourinho that there's this kind of togetherness between the fans, the players, the manager.
It's true, it feels like united.
It feels united. It does feel united. I don't know if it's just me being a...
Which is weird
romantic.
Because I think the fans are happy more than anything. But no, I wouldn't say Roma's team is Roma's situation is united. And I don't think they can ever be united, to be honest with you, bro.
Why?
Because
it's the city of Rome.
You've got some fans who love Gasperini, some fans who hate him, some fans who have taken Ranieri's side.
With
but
every
it's
single club. But it
no,
is
not to this extent, I think, bro. I think that they are a fan base that needs to maybe chill a bit.
Fair enough. They are one of the more critical ones.
Hashtag where is Zaragoza? An update on that. 7 matches, 7 league games he's missed in a row for no reason. He featured
I hope it's
in
like his sister's birthday or something, man.
He featured in the Europa League.
Like Neymar, whenever it was his sister's birthday, fucking tear his ACL, and then you see a video of him
Playing poker at the table.
being weird with his sister, whatever. Where you remember?
Yes,
You
yes,
remember?
yes. I
Very,
remember.
very close. It's a Brazilian thing, I guess. No, in Rio de Janeiro. Sixth place, Roma on 61 points, level on points with Como. Como are just ahead of them, probably because of the direct goal difference between them. Whilst Bologna find themselves in ninth on 48 points, level on points with Lazio just ahead of them.
Indeed, Genoa 0, Como 2. Now, Genoa came into this game with back-to-back wins. They won 2-1 against Sassuolo and 2-1 against Pisa as well. They're in good form under De Rossi, and playing Genoa in their stadium is a pretty tough task at the Stadio Luigi Ferraris, of course, because that place is always popping nowadays. So Como desperately needed this. This was a must-win for Como. A season, I think they lose this, their Champions League dream ends. It dies.
Yeah.
So they had to win, and they managed, of course. They had lost 3 in a row coming into this one. 4-3 against Inter in the league, 3-2 against Inter in the Coppa Italia, and 2-1 to Sassuolo. They were 5 points behind Juve in 5th, and this was, yes, a massive, massive game for them. So it was Bilo in goal for Genoa as they lined up with Marcandalli, Ostigard and Vasquez at the back, Ottawa and Sabelli out wide, with Ellertson, Amorim and Frendrup in the middle, Vitinha and Ekator starting up front. For Como, it was Bute in goal with Smolcic on the right, Valle on the left, Carlos and Ramon as the centre-backs, with Perron and Dacunia as double pivots, Diao on the right, Baturina on the left, with Paz playing off the shoulders of Duvikas, sorry. So Duvikas headed in Dacunha's delicious cross inside 10 minutes, and Diao made it 2 in the 67th minute after Kakere redirected Baturina's cross into his path, both goals coming off the top of someone's forehead, and those were actually Como's only 2 shots on target. They were ruthlessly efficient. Nico Paz was taken off at halftime this game following a head collision with Marcandalli, kind of like the Modric situation. There were concerns that he was struggling to see properly. Nico Paz. I don't know if there's an update on that. I'm sure he's fine, or would have probably heard of it.
Nico Paz, see.
Bilo also went off injured at the break and was replaced by Leali. Morata came on as a substitute, and he should have missed when he was clean through. He should have scored, when he was clean through, but he missed. If he scored, I've probably said he should have missed, because it's more on brand at this point. Morata, man, has been having a nightmare at Como. Honestly,
be careful.
Yes. One of our patrons said, would there be a more cursed kit this season than a Morata Como kit?
A more cursed kit this season than a Morata Como kit.
Like, imagine you had to give me the most cursed kit possible. That's Morata Como, right? It's literally a cursed kit.
It's Morata, any kit post Juve and Real Madrid, to be honest, man.
Yeah. It's also worth mentioning that Paz hit the post with a header. I thought that we saw an interesting version of Como here. They didn't overdo it with their creation. They didn't overexert themselves. They respected Genoa, apart from the one time Bute almost played the ball directly into Vitinha's path.
I want to make a point on Bute.
Bute is a bit crazy, he's so out there. He's a playmaker at the back. But I thought that they were mature, and they were ruthless and efficient, and they improvised, man. They scored 2 headers, which isn't typical of them.
It's not like them at all. And keep in mind, this was a team that had midweek, right? So I thought it was important for them to, kind of let the ball do the work, rather than, like Baturina, when he got the ball and he dribbled the same player 5-6 times. It's like, look, man, you had midweek. This is how people get injured. Stop dribbling the same player 6 times. You could have crossed 3 times. You know what I mean? But we did see Como do that for the most part. And Genoa are a team that like to press man to man. They like to attack. So Como did a good job of managing that and keeping the game as less physical as possible, because I guess that's where Como tend to struggle as well when a match becomes physical. But I want to ask you about Boutte.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen Boutte make an array of errors when it comes to his distribution and when it comes to him coming off his line and how he finds himself in these no man's land scenarios. Surely they should be looking at a new goalkeeper for next year, right? Because but then his shot stopping ability is actually impressive.
I think
For the
Boutte is
most part.
exactly what Fabregas wants.
Mm-hmm.
Because he can play with his feet and he's decent and go. The problem is it looks bad because of how high risk his game is. But that's how Fabregas wants to play.
Not sure. I think there are many keepers that are good with their feet that aren't as error prone as Boutte. Take Vanya, for instance.
But Vanya is good with his feet when it comes to long goalkeeper distribution. But Boutte can actually you can play off him against a high press as well. I don't think Vanya would be good to give and go in a high press. You know what I mean?
Sure,
Yeah.
but there was Ederson. Okay, he's at Fenerbahce now. Not a lot are coming to mind right now, but there are plenty of goalkeepers that are good with distribution. It's almost become something
They're
that is
super
needed.
expensive, bro. But think about it. Think about it.
Super
You have
expensive.
Manyan, you have
We're
Onana.
talking
These are the guys.
tobacco, Indonesia, cricket
Yes,
money.
but also a team that's getting into Europe now needs to be careful. Yeah. I think
I understand
yeah.
that as a style of goalkeeper, Boutte fits. Just a bit too error prone for my likings, man.
Fair.
And then to ask you a question about Duvikas as well.
Yes.
Because he's the second top scorer this season. I thought I
12 goals.
I've really enjoyed him,
Yeah.
honestly, this season. And he has 12 goals as not the out-and-out starter for Como, because Como have started him as a striker, started Morata, they've started someone else, and they've started Duvikas as well up top. 12 goals as, not a guaranteed starter is A, impressive, and B, we've seen him score a lot of different types of goals. In this game he scored a header, in other games he scored with his left, in other games he scored with his right. Quite well-rounded in that sense. But then I have a weird question of, can he move up from Como? Which is question A. Or question B, should Como get a better striker? I don't know where to place my energy in this question, because for some reason I'm still not entirely convinced on Duvikas.
So Duvikas isn't flashy, and he's in a team surrounded by very flashy players. However, he's quite clinical and he's very intelligent with his movement as well. I think that I wouldn't be surprised if Como go for a starting striker and keep Duvikas as a bench option. I would not be surprised whatsoever. The fact that he hasn't been an out-and-out starter this season shows that maybe, it means that he is probably replaceable. I know they rotate many players often, but there are some players that have become staples, of course Nico Paz is a staple, right? Dacunia is a staple, Baturina has become somewhat of a staple now. So I wouldn't be surprised at all. Remember, they're going to lose Nico Paz as well, so that might actually encourage Fabregas to play with a striker, having less creative players behind the striker.
Fabregas is even there because Chelsea have gotten their noses all over him.
It's interesting with Duvikas. He's 26 years old. He's doing well, I think. We'll see what happens there.
Yeah, he's done a solid job for them this season for sure. I was going to mention something else. For me, I really like the idea of Diao as a striker. Now, I know it could be the Mbappe effect where you take a winger who's scoring goals, put him as a striker, and it almost becomes more inefficient and maybe doesn't read, almost like Leao, like Mbappe, where you see that he doesn't read the game the same way as a striker and is dropping a bit too deep and trying to start attacks, and the ball's going into areas where he should be eating that up over and over. And I fear that for Diao. But when I see him in central areas, man, it makes me think it might work like it worked on Henry, not like it didn't work on Mbappe. I don't know what it is. I love his movement. I love how strong he is, and when he makes those runs down the middle, man, I see it working. He could work at a proper number 9, man.
Yeah, it could be. I don't see the need for that. He's having a great time playing out wide, and he does move inside like an inside forward. I think right now probably what will happen is Baturina will, if they do a 4-2-3-1, Baturina will play behind the striker, which might be Duvikas. You have Diao on the right, and I think that left wing spot opens up unless they play, what's his name?
I mean, they have Jesus
Rodriguez, but
they have
so much depth. I'm curious to see what happens with this
the other
Como.
one. Kun,
They've got that
Voivoda,
A something.
Adai.
Yeah.
I'd die for you.
They played well. Dacunia is amazing as well. For me, Vitinha left a lot to be desired. This game, he was a little bit clumsy. He had a one-on-one. He should have scored. He slipped when Bute made the mistake. He was a little bit unlucky. He presses like a monster, but he wasn't great this game. And of course, Morata is...
I continue to be impressed by Amorim in midfield. But
Yes.
I dare you to look him up. Alexandro
It was
Amorim.
hilarious how quickly he came up last time.
Mental. Yeah, he looks a bit like Carlos Bacca and Brahim Diaz had a child.
Bro, if you were Fabregas, would you take the Chelsea job?
If I were Fabregas, I'd die until Como win the Champions League.
Remember, he played for Chelsea as well.
He did play for Chelsea. He played for Como. I mean, the last season of his career, and he barely played, I think. I wonder. I think Chelsea is one of those teams where you risk your career by going there because they're one of those shittily run clubs. I think he's better off being, I know they're known as bottlers, but Arteta's successor.
Yeah.
Or, managing Barca, because he'll get the type of players that he wants over there. I think that will be peak Fabregas. He'll manage Barca one day. But that's if he goes down the route of managing the teams that he's represented, which us as romantics, we kind of see that happening. But unfortunately, I see him managing Chelsea, but I wouldn't leave a club like Como with such a vision to go to Chelsea, who are just trying to throw away players that they bought for 150 million. And then, they're just swapping managers between the multiple different football clubs that Todd Bowley owns. And then he's found in the Epstein files. And it's like, why? Why would you go to Chelsea? I don't have the highest opinion on Chelsea at the moment.
We can see
Current
that.
and former owner mentioned in the Epstein files, by the way. Bowley and what's his face?
That's a bad one. Juve are in fourth place with 64 points. Yes.
Sorry.
Meaning that Como are just 3 points off of a Champions League spot in fifth. While Genoa are 14 to 39 points.
If they finish level on points, Como get it.
They have the better...
Because I believe Como beat them twice, so they obviously have a better goal difference in a head-to-head to Juve.
Yes, Juve need to be careful.
Yes, and so do you, bro. The next game is going to be Cagliari 3, Atalanta 2, so that's towards the end of my notes. Fantastic. What a game this was. Monday night was just absolutely unbelievable. This is the best. We saw 3, 6, 9, 10, 11 goals on Monday night.
Someone on the group chat said that Monday is a reward for getting through the Milan-Juve game.
Exactly. Thank you to the Serie A gods. What Cagliari 3, Atalanta 2 was an amazing game. Cagliari came in still battling relegation, 33 points, 1 win in their last 10. They had multiple straight defeats. And a lot of people were doubting if Fabio Pisacane is the man for the job. Can he get them out of this relegation battle, really, and that they should have distanced themselves from that area a while ago. Atalanta, on the other hand, they were coming off 120 minutes and a penalty shootout in the Coppa Italia semi-final, where they gave it their 110%, so they were somewhat gassed out. Then 7th on 54 points, and they're still chasing European qualification. Look, if Lazio don't win the Coppa, which will be a huge failure on Atalanta's behalf because they got past them, it means that Atalanta won't get the Conference League. But if they manage to hang on to that 7th spot, they will at least get that and get some kind of reward for it. Yep. So it was a 5-3-2 formation for Pisaccane's men, with Caprile in goal and the backline of Ober, Rodriguez, Mina, Zepedro and Adopo, and midfield trio of Folorunsho, Deola and Gaetano, with Paul, Mendy and Sebastiano Esposito up front. 3-4-2-1 for Palladino's men. Carnesecchi in goal, backline of Scalvini, Jim City and Kolasinac. Bellanova out on the right, Zappa Costa on the left, Derone and Pasalic in the midfield, with De Ketelare and Raspadori playing behind Scamacca.
We're talking World Cup final. We're talking France-Argentina. We're talking Mbappe against Messi.
That's exactly what we're talking. Honestly, it couldn't be more similar. 13 seconds in. 16 seconds in. Atalanta kicked off, but somehow Cagliari opened the scoring, and somehow Paul Mendy opened the scoring. A player who made his first start for Cagliari, a young player, I believe 20 years of age or 19.
I think it was
19 years of age. 19, sorry, that's inflation. Atalanta kicked off, but Cagliari scored in 16 seconds after dispossessing Atalanta. Adopo whipped in an early cross to Mendy, who headed in at the start. 7 minutes later, in the 8th minute, Cagliari made it 2. And who was it? It was Paul Mendy once again. It was Esposito's corner that caused havoc in the box. I can't tell you what happened in the box. I can't, because it was a whole pinball thing. I tried pausing, saying, who's the number 23? Who's the...
Yeah.
Havoc in the box.
He shot it off of Jim City, I think.
He shot the ball into Jim City and it went in. That's 2 goals in 8 minutes for Paul Mendy in his first start for Cagliari. That is absolutely huge. But then Mbappe showed up, no? Scamacca showed up.
The only one who can neutralize Messi.
Yeah. 40th minute, he curls a beautiful shot into the far corner in order to make it 2-1. And then 5 minutes later, just on the stroke of half-time, this was an underrated move by Atalanta, because Bellanova was the one carrying the ball forward on the flank. It was Scalvini with the underlap. The ball found Scalvini. Scalvini delivered a low cross to Scamacca, who tapped in to equalize. But then, second half comes around. Borelli comes on. And scores just 90 seconds of entering the pitch. Folorunsho did extremely well to beat 2 men.
Folorunshinho.
Folorunshin. He beat 2 men expertly. Then he shot, but it was blocked by Kolasinac, and it kind of like stuck to Kolasinac with the keeper grounded. And the ball just rolled right in front of Borelli with an open net, and he just tapped it in to make it 3-2. And then Cagliari held and held and Caprile
saved
pulled off
and
some
saved and saved.
mental saves, and then almost produced some crazy howlers. Because this thing about Caprile, he makes a couple of saves, gets excited, and then there's a cross that's barely landing in the box,
And he spills it.
keeper ball, and he's running out to grab it, and it's obviously out of his reach. Shout out to Belotti, who came on after a devastating injury. We thought we might never see him play again, quite frankly. He comes on. Scalvini receives the ball in defense and slips, and it's Bellotti's moment. Belotti is clean through on goal. He is running towards Carnesecchi, barely on one side. You could see Jesus. And he tries to round Carnesecchi. He had so much time to shoot, and so he could have gone for a high shot, he could have gone for a low shot, he could have feinted him, he could have done anything. He had all the time in the world. The ankle really favored him as a right footer. He tries to round Carnesecchi in the laziest way
Doesn't even
possible.
drop the shoulder, doesn't even pretend he's going the other way.
He doesn't even knock the ball or anything, just kind of just changes his trajectory of it. He's doing this, and he does this. That is ring rust, but aside from ring rust, he didn't look fit, bro. He didn't look fit at all. I don't know if he should be on the pitch yet.
Slowly.
Slowly.
He'll be back. But Pizzacane, Cagliari, wow. Twice with the with the immediate goal, man, in both halves.
And I think that was their game plan.
Yes, and what's his name? Palladino, after the match, said we hadn't even left the dressing room when we conceded those goals.
Exactly.
And it's true, and I think they did, bro. They amped up the intensity and played extremely direct from the get-go to shock them, and it worked twice. It was amazing.
Oh, great, man. And that very direct play by Cagliari. You know, they have technically gifted players like Esposito, Gaetano, Deola, Oloruncio. These are technically gifted players. And we've seen Cagliari play slow, nice football, like the way they scored that goal last season against... it escapes me right now. They scored
1 second, it will come to me.
Puskas. I think it's against a relegated team. Was it Frozen? No. Frozen? No.
No. I'll find it.
Okay. Who the hell was it? No. But anyway. But that direct style of play with strikers like
Venezia.
Paul Mendy and Borelli, just get the ball up to them, man. Get the ball up to them, bypass all of that bullshit. Atalanta are exhausted. And it worked time and time again. They got the first goal 16 seconds into the game. Second goal 8 minutes into the game. Third goal 90 seconds up on the restart. So job well done for Cagliari to get those goals early. And then to hold forth. I mean, in the second half, they had 27% ball possession to Atalanta's 73. Atalanta ended up having 21 shots, 6 of them on target, and XG of 1.72. That's 744 passes to Cagliari's 266. Because to create a chance, Cagliari just needed one long ball.
That's it.
Rather than all of these intricate whatever.
Bro, it was an extremely entertaining game. I am always impressed by this Rodriguez at the back for Cagliari. He's only 20 years old and he holds himself well. I mean, Atalanta, I think, had the whole midweek thing as well, the fatigue. It seems to have affected teams more than maybe we would have thought.
It's hotter now as well.
It is hotter as well. Absolutely. We're seeing hats coming back, bro. Keepers are wearing hats. Love that.
Shout out to Schemper.
Reminds me of Handanovic.
Yeah.
Has Handanovic ever had a good game in a hat?
Great question.
Mm-hmm.
Have your say in the comments. And if you watch a full episode, comment El Fejo at the bottom.
Last time, Sarah.
How fucking funny. We're going off script. But last time we're just chilling on the sofa and I just hear the voice of a woman go, "Babe, El Fejo scored last weekend."
Sarah looking at her font. I thought it take El Fejo.
Jake's girlfriend. It's my babe, El Fejo. Scored last week. The only woman in the world
Who knows that El Fejo scored?
who knows that El Fejo scored for Parma last weekend.
Incredible.
But
I'm so proud.
I mean, Cagliari seem to have distanced themselves from the relegation battle. That is another home win against Atalanta. It's impressive at that point. They're definitely a bogey team for Atalanta. Atalanta, when it comes to their position in the league, I don't want to say they've got nothing left to play for, but you know, they're quite solidified into 7th place because they are 6 points ahead of Lazio and they are not catching Roma or Como. So what they need to hope for, the only thing that was in their power was to stop Lazio from winning the Coppa, but they failed to do that. Now if Lazio win the Coppa, Atalanta are out of Europe in its entirety. But once again, I have high hopes for Atalanta because they have Palladino locked down on a big contract and there's no starting the season off with fucking Juric. You know what I mean? They're not going to waste the first bloody 12 matches of the season trying out, Juric.
Palladino spoke after the game and he said it feels like they've been climbing a mountain this entire season and the second they make a mistake it's extremely costly because of the amount of ground that is built up. They didn't have the opportunity to work in serenity and I think next season they'll do much better.
Totally, man, and hopefully they'll sign some good players. Keep in mind they lost Retegui and they lost Lukman. Those are 2 devastating losses for them. But they have gained Palladino, who's one of the most promising managers in world football at the moment.
Absolutely, bro.
7th place, 54 points. Cagliari, on the other hand, 16th place, 36 points. Are they mathematically 1 4 is 4, 2 4s are 8, 3 4s are 12? No, they're not. They're not entirely
Bro.
safe yet.
Bro
But they're
pulled
there.
out the method.
Force 4.
Force 4.
4s are 8, 3 4s are 12.
Cagliari, by the way, have never touched a relegation spot this season.
That's
incredible work by
considering
Pisacane.
the 39-year-old manager.
Thanks to Mattias, by the way, for that stat.
Thank you, Mattias.
We can move on to the next one, right, bro? Because
Yes,
I'm noticing
Lazio
Champions League kicks
Udinese.
off in 9 minutes, which is
Hurry the fuck
absolutely
up, man.
brutal.
I'll put
Yes.
it on my phone.
Yes, please, because I would love to see it.
Yes, please, Matt. Do this for me, Matt, please. Yes, please, Matt.
Christ. Lazio 3, Udinese 3. What a game. Another fucking mental game.
Sure.
And I do not have the lineup, actually. So this was after Lazio's miracle in the Coppa Italia semi-final.
The Motta miracle.
The Motta miracle. So they had another challenge despite their fatigue against an Udinese side that loves to play up to their opponents always. If there's a team that's better than them in theory, they will play very well.
Yeah.
It was Motta in goal, again, in a 4-3-3 formation for Lazio, with Lazzari, Romagnoli, Prostgard and Pellegrini at the back, Basic, Patrick and Taylor in the middle, with Cancelleri on the right and Nosler on the left and Boulayedia up front. As for Udinese, it was Okoye at the back in their 3-4-2-1 formation, with Sole, Capasele and Christensen at the back. Cavasele, with Kamara on the left and Azibo on the right, Atta and Pietrovski playing in the middle, with Zaniolo and Eklinkamp playing behind. Gay.
Nathan.
Yes.
This is Jake.
So a thrilling 6 goal spectacle at the Stadio Olimpico. It was Arthur Atta's late heroics earning Udinese a dramatic victory, or so it seemed, only for Daniel Maldini to score at the end. Now, I'm going to take you through all the goals because it's worth it. Okay,
Yes.
So in the 18th minute, it was Ezibwe who burst forward from wing back and fired past Motta with a driving right-footed outstep shot from 20 yards, a goal out of almost nothing. And it was the type of strike that I had no idea Ezibwe could do.
My goal of the week, without a doubt. Just
Yeah.
bullet, man.
You
a
can
bullet.
see after this goal, Motta was disappointed because it was at his near post. In fact, he looked a little bit embarrassed after.
Yes, but...
Motta and penalty shootouts and Motta during games is something we need to discuss.
Uh-huh.
Luca Pellegrini had an answer to that in the 50th minute. Lazio came out with intent. Noslin held the ball up for Pellegrini, who arrived at pace from left back. He drove a low shot across Okoye in the far corner to level the game. And then it was the 80th minute when Pedro rolled back the years. He's now 34 years old. He entered and immediately lit up the Olimpico. Basic played a simple layoff and Pedro took a first touch curler. He shot a first touch curler, past the goalkeeper. And they were off celebrating. And then it was Atta who equalized in the 86th minute. It was really weak goalkeeping by Motta to spill it into his path over here. And then in the 93rd minute, Atta scored what he thought was the winner, placing it from the edge, from the corner of the box, only for Lazio to level in the 96th minute through Daniel Maldini, who turned a shot into the back of the net. I'm not even sure he knew much about it, and I'm pretty sure he thought he was offside. And I am surprised that he wasn't offside,
man,
because he did
bizarre.
look like
It's
he was
bizarre.
offside. Exactly. A crazy game, bro. But this Lazio group has spirit, huh? They have some fight about them.
Lazio, one sec. As much as I hate Lazio, because the only time they had a sold out fucking stadium in this game and they ignored the protests against the ownership, etc., was against Milan, and they ended up beating Milan and stopping them from resurging this title push. You have to give it to Lazio, and you have to give it to two groups in particular: the manager and the coaches, so Sarri and whatever staff he employs with him, and the group of players, because it is quite literally, it's like every Mourinho story ever written. It is them against everyone, including their own ownership, and including their fans. in reality, because their fans aren't turning up to support them. But what Lazio have been able to do despite that, getting to a Coppa final, being in 8th place in the league, which is that hope for better, but they had a transfer ban all of summer, and then instead of signing players, they signed Kenneth Taylor. But, they got rid of Guendouzi. They were going to get rid of Romagnoli if it wasn't for Sarri intervening at the end of it. They got rid of Tati Castellanos. It's been an absolute disaster, and Lazio should have been where Fiorentina are. That's where they should be. But they're in 8th place, man, and they're just impressive. How could you do that with the world against you? You have to hand it to them.
Absolutely, and Sarri has shown that he's a fantastic leader and a motivator, and you can see at the end of the game Runjaic and Sarri really hugging it out and kind of like showing respect towards each other, because Runjaic is a good coach as well.
Runjaic is a great coach, and they showed us football. It wasn't like, there was much more to play for in the Juve and Milan game, which is why it was more cautious. But how refreshing is it to see a 3-3 in this league, when sometimes it just feels like there's this over tactical joy kill of the game that you don't really see players, take players on one-on-one anymore, anything like that. But this game, it had bangers as well, just brilliant.
I was very impressed by Isaacson, and Isaacson was the driving force that made the comeback even possible, because there was so much pressure from the few fans that were in the stadium, as they thought they were going to lose, right, and throw it all away in dramatic fashion. But Isaacson was the one, man, who kept driving and dribbling, and the way he hugs the line and dribbles, and you don't know if he's going to cut back or keep going, he's so unpredictable, and he was getting crosses in, and he was the one that was instigating all the chaos, essentially.
He reminded me a bit of Conceição, where he was like that main outlet from out wide for them. Yeah,
really refined dribbling though, very refined dribbling. I also wanted to point out something else, but yes, Atta, of course we have to talk about Atta, bro.
Yeah.
Atta is destined for a massive move, and it's going to happen next season. 23 years old, French, and he's cooking.
How would you describe Atta as a footballer?
Atta is capable.
For those that aren't
he's highly technical. He has a great shot on him and good vision. He's strong. He's big, 189 centimeters. His touch is great, and I just think that he is the type of player that you give creative freedom to, and you put him in front of a midfield, an industrious midfield, and he can feed the attack and create chances. He's a 10.
Yeah, he's a 10, but he's also quite a box-to-box. He can
box-to-box.
play like a Loftus-Cheek kind
he
of
can do it
role
because
with the
he's
late
big,
runs
but
into the
it's a bit
boxes.
of a waste, I think, because he's extremely inventive, and the fact that he plays for a very physical man-to-man side means that we are seeing that side of his game, but it doesn't need to be the case.
It's true. He's actually, I think his role is much more similar to Tuvon, what Tuvon was doing for Udinese last season. Of course, they look wildly different doing it, so you might not draw that comparison, but they fill in that same kind of
the creative spark.
As that.
Yeah, absolutely. Bro, I don't want to dwell too long on this. What a match. In reality, I mean, there isn't much to play for these teams at the moment in the league, so we can just move on.
Do you think
from
Lazio can beat Inter in the final?
I think anything can happen in a final, but I think it'll be I think it's unlikely.
Yeah,
unfortunately. I mean, that's the biggest game of their season, and they I believe play Roma shortly after that. They have a weird schedule. Look at this. Let me tell you exactly how it is. So it's Inter in the league, Inter in the final, and then Roma right after.
Disaster
indeed.
They're gonna lose.
Honestly, play the kids in the league and just save everyone.
No, literally. I mean, there's nothing to play for in the league.
Exactly. There's nothing to play for because they stand.
They're gonna let Inter win because they're fucking scissor sisters, no?
Exactly. The fans won't go to the final. Lazio are in 8th with 48 points, while Udinese are in 11th with 44 points.
Fiorentina, Sassuolo.
Oh yes.
To be fair, also in this case, both sides don't have much to play for. Okay, Fiorentina are in a relegation battle, but are they really? They've created enough distance. They have a lot more quality. Sassuolo at this stage, they're finishing top 10, man, and they've had such an impressive season. If not 11th, at most. and just Grosso has been one of the managers of the season. You know, if he had a slightly more refined squad, people will be talking about him as much as they're talking about Cesc Fabregas.
Yeah, really.
The Fiorentina's injury list is what it is. Of course, Fortini, Gosens, Keane, Lamptey, Parisi, Piccoli, all out. Whereas for Sassuolo, they had a few setbacks, including mainly Berardi and Bolocca. Of course, Berardi is still suspended after his fight with Ellertson, I believe. 4-3-3 for Fiorentina, David De Gea in goal. Backline of Balbo, Ranieri, Rugani and Dodò. Midfield of Endur, Fagioli and Mandragora. And the front line of Solomon, Goodmanson and Harrison. The front, I can't think of any good one.
Harrison, one of the
Son. Son. For Sassuolo, it was a 4-3-3 as well. Turati in goal. Valukovic on the right, Garcia on the left. I was trying to set it up for you.
I thought you were going to
Do it again. Oh, we'll do it like that. Turati in goal. Valukovic was the right back. Was the centre back alongside Muharemovic, and then Ulysses Garcia on the left. Icone, Matic and Tortsvet were in midfield with Volpato, Pinamonti and Lauriante up front. When it comes to how the game went, from what I saw, Goodmanson up front for Fiorentina left a bit to be desired because I don't think he's too familiar with that role. So he was pretty much drifting wide out the entire time, and they had no reference point up front. Harrison did have some moments cutting inside, but he also left a lot to be desired. Sassuolo focused a lot more on denying Fiorentina's midfield any space to create. And just to me, it felt like Pinamonti was isolated up front for a really long time, and Pinamonti has gone a long fucking while without finding the net. I believe you have the official, like, how long has it been since Pinamonti has scored? I think you mentioned it before recording. But
he scored. No, he scored against Cagliari on the 4th of April.
On the 4th of April, okay, it's the 28th.
So it's not been that bad.
Not that bad.
He has a 3-game drought. Yeah.
I just have 2 questions to pose, and we can move on from this 0-0. It's day 1 of summer. The World Cup is over. Whatever.
School's out
for summer. Fiorentina need to do something. They just battled relegation for an entire season, and their squad looks something like Rugani at centre back, something like Solomon as a left winger, Harrison from Leeds as a right winger, Goodmanson as a false 9, Keane misfiring, Piccoli starting for the most part. Started with Pioli, had to sack him. What the fuck do you do?
So the first thing you do, I think, is decide who is going to be the man to lead us this season. We need to pick someone that we most definitely will not be sacking in the first year. We need to pick someone. To be honest, bro, I'm very surprised at how badly that went.
I know.
But extremely surprised. But I think that it's just very difficult right now because of the situation where they had death in their leadership. It wasn't exactly easy. But they need to pick a manager. And then after that, they need to see who wants to jump ship, who doesn't. Who can we cash in on? What is our budget? Goodmanson and Keane, I think, are expendable, to be honest. It's not like Goodmanson has been setting the world on fire. He's actually flopped, in my opinion, at Fiorentina. Keane, they can get some good money for him still.
For me, the only player I would try my best to keep is Fagioli.
No, Dodo for me, man.
And Dodo.
Yeah, both players.
I'll do Dodo as well. But Fagioli to me is the centerpiece of this team, and I think he could also be the future starting midfielder of the Italian national team. I think he's shown us now that the past is behind him. What a fucking quality midfielder he is. I agree. I mean, you have to choose a manager and then kind of see what kind of players fit this manager's system. Because it's pieces from everywhere, eh? it just feels like
Their team is scattered, man. They have, as you
Totally,
said,
man.
they have players in different, but you can play any formation. Yeah.
Ranieri, Rugani as their centre-back partnership is a disaster, for example. Like, all right, I don't hate Ranieri, but Rugani, oh my God. Goodmanson just hasn't been the same player since the entire scandal as well. He hasn't been the same player since moving from Genoa, let's be honest. Solomon and Harrison are not Fiorentina level.
I think Solomon is fine.
They're doing the part, but I don't think they're Fiorentina level. Man.
Solomon's exciting. Harrison gives you a lot of industry and not much else, as we've discussed. I mean, he can be a fine squad player. I don't think that there are many players that are like, oh, terrible quality or whatever. It's more like a lack of unity, a lack of identity, and a lack of motivation.
I guess so.
Yeah.
I guess so. Let's just jump to Sassuolo. Grosso is everything for Sassuolo, the team he's put together, the way he has them playing football, that they can be so good defensively and then so explosive offensively. We remember Sassuolo as a very offensive team, but then with Kirikez at the back and with what the hell was his name? He's in Turkey now.
Kirikez and
Ruan Tressoldi at the back, just nightmare of footballers at the back. But Grosso has really managed to stitch them together. He was the kind of manager before that was avoiding Serie A. He got Frosinone promoted, jumped to Lyon. But now he got Sassuolo promoted and he stayed at Sassuolo. Do you think we'll see him still at Sassuolo next year, or is there something bigger calling for him?
I hope he stays, but it's always a carousel with managers leaving, so I wouldn't be surprised if he leaves. And to be honest, I think many teams will be interested because he has displayed good, balanced football. And something that's quite attractive to teams that are slightly and in positions slightly above of Sassuolo. And to be honest, man, he has overreached with Sassuolo. Like
Totally.
He's overachieved.
Totally.
He would be one of the contenders for coaches of the season if there weren't so many. With Kivu at Inter, Fabregas at Como, of course.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think that if Fabregas left Como, I think Grosso should 100% be on the list for Como, because he's a manager that can clearly bring a team up. You know, he can take them from newly promoted to pushing up as much as possible. And he has a very balanced style of play with good passages of play. It's on brand for Como. I think he fits it, obviously, if Fabregas will no longer be there. And I think he's the next big thing in Italian football management, Grosso. So I think any of the top teams, like, I don't know, Milan post Allegri could use him, Napoli post Conte can use him, Juve post whatever. He's definitely there. But anyway, Sassuolo are intent on 46 points, while Fiorentina sit down in 15th place on 37 points, just 1 point ahead of Cagliari.
What's the last game you need to cover?
Last game I need to cover?
Yeah, because I need to do Parma-Pisa.
And then I have Verona nil Lecce nil.
Okay. Shall we combine these and talk about the bigger picture and do our predictions, since we're 10 minutes into this bloody Champions League match?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I mean, we had Parma-Pisa, to be honest with you. I can just read you my notes over here. Parma came into this one at 42 points. They needed to win to confirm mathematical safety. Their fans showed up and they were ready to party, while Pisa arrived rock bottom with 18 points, having lost 4 in a row and failed to win any of their last 17 away games. It was an absolute brutal... It's been brutal for Pisa. And this was a tense and low-quality affair with enormous stakes at both ends, to be honest. Parma had the better of things, but they needed a Nesta El Fej header. Sorry, it wasn't a header. No.
He flicked it up.
Yes, it was lovely, a lovely goal to settle it. Pisa were wasteful, as always. They missed their chances, but Parma were street smart enough to get it done with just one goal and winning 1-0. El Fej is a player we've been praising. He's burst into life and he's helped them confirm mathematical safety. For Parma, job well done this season. It hasn't been pretty, and the fan base is divided on the future, because some people want Quest out because they don't like the brand of football that's been played. Some people are just happy that they survived and had a great season. Let's remember that Parma are used to playing quite exciting football in Serie A. Let's not forget the team they had in the 90s, and let's not forget the team they had with Dennis Mann and Boni and who else was there on that team? They were amazing. They were so
They're
much
so
fun to
cool.
watch.
Who was that right back, man?
Koulibaly, Woyo
Woyo. Woyo.
Mihaila. Yeah, they were a good team, man. And they still are, to be honest. They're just different, right?
Mm-hmm.
For me, hats off to Cuesta. What a great job. One of the youngest manager in the league. And
Yes,
he did a great
29
job.
years old, probably 30 now, let's be honest. But great stuff. And if you're with Parma and you're playing one of these teams, Pisa of the world, 1 goal is all you need. And so if you have an Elfej that can get you that, then it's great. Let's jump to Verona against Lecce. Now, this was a real fucking opportunity for Lecce. Yes, they're away from home. Yes, they're against a stubborn Verona side that are probably confident that they can win this game. And they've got nothing to lose. They are fearless. Because they're on bloody 19 points. There's a 10-point gap between them and safety. Whereas Lecce, they know Cremonese are going to lose to Napoli. They have a real opportunity here to get 3 points. However, if they overcome it and they lose the game because Gift Orban broke through or something like that, they'll be kicking themselves. They played, Hellas Verona played in a 3-4-1-1, sorry, a 3-5-1-1 formation.
Gift Orban wasn't at the game after what happened as well, important to mention.
Yes.
Yeah.
So maybe not the Gift Orban of all
Yeah.
people. 3-5-1-1 formation, Montepo on goal, backline of Edmondson, Bella Kotchap and Nelson, Fraser on the left, Belgali on the right, midfield trio of Bernadette, Gagliardini and Akpakpro, with Suslov playing behind Bowie. There's a 4-2-3-1, and then for Lecce, with Falcone and goal, a backline of Vega, Siebert, Gabi Jean and Gallo, a midfield 2 of Ramadani and Koulibaly, with Gandelman just ahead of them, with Pierotti on the right, Banda on the left, and Stulic up front. I mean, when it came to the way that the game went, Lecce were pragmatic and disciplined. They were very patient. They had 4 at the back, a compact midfield, and a little desire to commit numbers forward, knowing that Verona can hit on the break. Falcone, however, was the most tested goalkeeper on the night. He had 3 saves of note. Verona tried to play out of the back more than usual, with Suslov dropping deep to collect the ball and bring it forward. But without Serdar's energy in midfield and with, all those defeats behind them, there was a visible anxiety to their play. They had a late goal disallowed, which was their most telling moment. Basically, this was their season in a nutshell, because in the 94th minute, Edmondson scored a header, but there was a foul off the ball on Falcone. It was Edmondson himself did make contact with Falcone, but there was someone that just sprinted into him.
At first, we were looking for the foul. We were watching, we're like, where is the foul from Edmondson? And we realized it wasn't Edmondson's foul, but there was another Hellas Verona player who came flying in and headed the goalkeeper in the ribcage.
Stupid, man.
Yeah, fuck it happened.
Huge relegation 6-pointer with huge fucking implications. Is this a point gained for Lecce, considering that they're now 1 point ahead of Cremonese, or is it 2 dropped?
I think, man, to be honest, this was a must-win for Lecce. I think it's extremely risky, the fact that they didn't win this, and granted they have jumped Cremonese now, but honestly at this point now anything can happen, because Lecce have to play Pisa, Juve, Sassuolo and Genoa,
while Cremonese need to play
Cremonese, I thought you actually had it.
Yes, I do. Lazio, Pisa, Udinese and Como. Say yours again.
Sorry, let's go back on Lecce.
Lecce need to play.
So Lecce, we're talking Pisa, Juve, Sassuolo, Genoa.
Oh my God, Cremonese have the easier fixtures, man.
How many home games do they have?
1, 2, 3.
Okay, exactly. Lecce have 2 home games, one against Juve and one against Genoa.
Look, Cremonese have home against Pisa. That's it.
Lecce, the next one is away against Pisa.
They're not beating Lazio at home. They're not beating Udinese away, and they're not beating Como at home. However, Pisa home, they can win.
I think next week will be very telling, because we'll be discussing the result of Pisa-Lecce, and if Lecce don't win that one, it's not looking good.
Oh my God, that is a must-win for both teams.
Crazy, yeah. And remember, Pisa are not yet mathematically relegated. If they win
all
their games and the teams of them lose all their games, they'll be 1 point in safety.
So keep your eyes on the relegation battle, lads and lasses. It is definitely one of the most exciting parts of this league, and obviously plus the Coppa Italia and the race for top 4 as well. Let's jump to our Patreon segment. Thank you to all our beautiful patrons for making this possible. We would not be here without you. Alan, I'm fucking coming for you, dude. I have no idea how I'm not first yet. I think there's daylight robbery, and I don't know what's happening here. I know we're the organizers, but someone's a snake. Because how were you a man down?
There's a setting.
And I only had 1.5 points over you.
There's a setting that's been in play.
I'm just gonna
season.
Then I'm just gonna, you know what? Doesn't matter if I'm a man up or a man down or whatever. I'm just gonna go all strikers. You can't. It's a really fair league. I'm just salty.
We have Alan in first with Matt. He's so close behind him. Inter Your Mom has kind of drifted a little bit. 2 girls, 1 coop in 4th. Grock Gilmore in 5th. US Salernitanga in 6th. Corto Muzo in 7th. And who's that? Saponara Seaman in 8th. That's right, we're climbing. Prefer 10th, but that's fine. G's Nuts. Loco Choco Saul Coco. Gym City Life. Ardon's Hardon. Today, Your Love. Tomorrow, The World. Lotito Vendere Vattene and Giordano 67.
Giordano 67
Has
needs
just
to be
entered the
relegated for the lack of banter in his name.
The best performing teams this week: 2 girls, 1 coop, had one hell of a week, 82.5 points. The Rune Service, Inter Your Mom, Interbred. Today, Your Love, Tomorrow The World, Loco Choco, Saul Coco, and yours truly as the best performance.
Where's Alan with 90 points with a man down, huh?
Let's do the predictions.
I need to start this week. And the match I need to start with. So these are quick fire predictions. Jake is currently winning 8-7 with 4 match days to go. Again, I'm tight in second. But we'll start off with Pisa Lecce.
Am I starting?
No, I'm starting. Lecce. Oh.
Udinese Torino. Draw.
Torino.
Okay.
Como Napoli. Draw.
Como, man.
Atalanta Genoa.
It's me, right?
No, me.
Oh.
Atalanta Genoa, God. Draw.
No, Atalanta, I think he'll motivate them.
Bologna Cagliari.
I'll say draw here.
I go Bologna. Sassuolo Milan. No, me.
Christ, I'm bad at this. Harry Kane just scored. Speaking of.
Sassuolo Milan.
I'm the best.
I'm not confident, but I'm going Milan.
Draw.
Your turn. Juve Verona.
I go Juve.
I go Juve as well. Inter Parma, I go Inter.
Inter win the league as well.
Cremonese Lazio.
Lazio. No, I'm changing my mind. Draw. Sorry.
Oh my God, dude. I'm going Lazio.
Okay.
Roma Fiorentina, I'm going to go Roma.
I'll go Roma too.
Okay, amazing. Guys and girls, thank you so much for another episode. We love you all so much. But now we're going to go to the Champions League. So we'll catch you all next week. Give us some space. I'm joking. DM us, ask us questions. We love you all. And check out our new website. At Benevobid. Adio.
Spotlight.org.
If you like Serie A or have ever liked it in the past, it's a good opportunity for you to listen once a week and you'll get filled in.
In the football weekend, that's like the main dish. But then a few days later, you drop your episode and that's like the dessert. And the dessert is just perfect.
It's good, okay?
It makes it feel like we're all sitting in a room together, just BSing with each other.
The atmosphere is fantastic.
I promise nobody will ask you to send boob pics.
Sometimes it may be good, sometimes it may be shit.
I love how you go into so much detail and show so much passion towards each and every team. Literally, no team is left undiscussed.
When I listen to you, it's like I'm talking to you in a pub. It's like I'm chatting to a friend and you're chatting to me.